costs $2,000 a month. You can believe it, man, it's true. Somewhere there's a landlord laughing till he wets his pants. No one dreams of being a doctor, a lawyer, or anything. They dream of dealing on the dirty boulevard. Give me you're hungry, you're tired, you're poor, I'll piss on them. That's what the statue of bigotry says. You poor huddled masses, let's club them to death and get it over with. Just dump them on the boulevard. Get them out on the dirty boulevard. Going out to the dirty boulevard. They're going down on the dirty boulevard. Going out.
It turns out that they're delinquent.
Good morning. Good morning. You're listening to WURD. You're listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM. You're listening to Black Women's Leadership Council. And this is Joanne Bell here today with Emma Chappelle. Good morning, Emma, and how you feel?
Good morning, Joanne. I feel pretty good today. It's a beautiful day outside and a little bit windy, but it's very pretty. And I'm enjoying being here.
Good, good, good. So Rita Hill just arrived. We opened with Lang Lang and the Dirty Boulevard.
Yes.
And it's a reason for that. We're feeling concerned that our elected officials don't hear the strife and the problems of people who live very close to the margins. That they begin to get caught up in their own concerns about getting elected, getting reelected, and they're forgetting the people. They're forgetting that we have a 26% poverty rate here. We have crime on the streets because crime is an outgrowth of the poverty that exists.
Right.
And whenever people try to raise it, they get accused of all kinds of things. What Emma Chappelle, Joanne Bell, and Rita Hill, and Sonia Burris, and Rhonda Hill Wilson, and all of the women of the Black Women's Leadership want to say to you, you're not going to shut us up. We're going to say what needs to be said, and we do not care what you say about us. That is not going to change. It comes a time in our history that people have to stand up for what they believe in. And sometimes when you stand up for what you believe in, you get accused of all kinds of things. They make up false alliances that you have with people. Oh, they're being bought by the soda company. Because it's insulting when we do the research and we come up with our positions that it has to be that somebody else is puppeteering us. I have never been a puppet of anybody, don't intend to be a puppet of anybody. And the problem in the city of Philadelphia, there's too many puppets that don't look out for the best interest of the people. And when you don't look out for the best interest of the people, you get the 26% poverty. So today, I'm not happy. I'm not happy by the behaviors that I have seen in the last years, it is. And we're going to talk a little bit about all of this. So I want to turn it over to Emma. I want to know what she thinks about it.
Well, clearly, I agree with everything you just said. And most people know I'm not a puppet either. I never have been. I've always stepped out and tried to do my best to help this community. When I saw that there was a need, I tried to address it. And the need now is to get this community safe and sound and able to support themselves. The issue is with that music that we just played, it talked about the jobs that people are creating because they can't get jobs. They're talking about the drug area and selling drugs and things like that. Who brought that into our city? Who allows that to stay in this city? Why are we in this condition? Or why is all our black men going to jail? What is the problem? there has to be these problems have to be identified, and the people who are causing them to happen, knowingly or unknowingly, have to be told what is happening. We're trying to let our community know the facts. We're not making up anything. We're at the age where we just believe that we have to do something about this 26% poverty rate. And I know I am tired of having friends and people that I know that can live from day to day. They have no money to live off. And as you mentioned, as you know, we created a building for low-income seniors, which was a wonderful need, and it's working. But as we started bringing in the people who live there, you would be amazed at the kind of income or no income that they are living off of. As low as $750, $800 a month. How can people live on that? I mean, it is so ridiculous to think that we should continue to pay taxes, for example. I saw that awful finance committee thing at City Council, and I was dismayed. I could not believe that anybody would say no to amnesty for these poor people and try to justify it. When I listened to the Department of Revenue fellow talking about all the issues, reason why we couldn't have amnesty, and then he also talked about the 10-year tax abatement and how 40% of the people who get the 10-year tax abatement do not even live in Philadelphia, and they're not willing to give senior citizens and people who've lived in these homes for years some kind of a tax abatement. And as I learned myself, it's not just the tax. You can owe a small tax, but then they put interest and penalties on it, and by the time you get done, it's tripled or quadrupled. And then they want to take your house because you can't afford to pay it. And the worst part is they outsource this, so they have someone else that is collecting the rent, oftentimes that's collecting the taxes. And because of that, that person has no sensitivity to what's going on in the city and why we elected these people to office. We elected them to protect the community, and now they're doing more about protecting themselves. And we're going to reveal it every step of the way.
And we don't care what threats you send, politically or otherwise. You're not going to shut us up. And you're not going to tell us that we're aligned with this person and that person, because we know that that isn't true.
That's right.
But every time somebody tries to speak truth to power, you try to diminish that. The problem with you guys is that you're caught in an elected official kind of thing where you fight with each other, you get territorial, and you forget about the people who are in this city. There is no independent section of the city. We are all the city of Philadelphia. You represent the areas for which you come from, but your job is to look out for the interests for the people of the city of Philadelphia. Good morning, Rita. What do you think?
Well, I agree with both of you wholeheartedly. What I want to say is thank you to Word for giving us the opportunity and the forum for us to be able to put these issues out in the airwaves to the city of Philadelphia and the listening audience. What we're interested is in equity.
That's right.
We are interested in equity and a fair share of the pie.
That's right.
What we get right now is not a fair share. There is data, there's tons of data, there are studies, the mayor has done them, the city controller has done them. They're all out in the airwaves, they're all out in the open. Everyone can see that there is no equity, there is no parity for blacks in the city of Philadelphia. Whether you're looking at city contracts or whether you're looking at employment within the city itself.
Absolutely.
There's no equity, there's no parity, and if we can't have equality in those areas, how are we to rise above and lift ourselves out of poverty when we don't have opportunity? We don't have opportunity, we don't have access to capital, our health is declining, we don't have the financial backing and resources.
And our kids are killing each other.
And
That's
our
right.
Because there's no opportunity
And no
here
hope. And
for
no
them. And they feel no hope.
Yes.
And so as the elders, as people who have opportunity and forums to speak the truth, we have a responsibility to speak the truth, because knowledge is power, and we all know that knowledge is power. We've got to get the information out to the people.
Right.
We've got to get the information. We've got to galvanize them, energize them, and we've got to get out, unify, and vote.
That's right.
But we can't sit back and we can't allow this discourse between factions that say, who's pulling your string, Black Women's Leadership Council? Why are you saying these things? Somebody must be behind you. The community is behind us.
That's right.
That's who's behind us, and we do speak for the community. And we've been speaking for the community since we came on the radio and long before that.
For years before that.
For years before that.
Yes.
Shirley Chisholm once said she was unbought and unbossed. And I wish far more people in this city could stand up and say that they are unbought and unbossed. We don't need an alignment with anyone. The alignment has to be with the people of the city of Philadelphia. There comes a time where people get fed up with what's going on. And we're telling you that we're fed up. You're not working in the best interest of the citizens of Philadelphia. African Americans, by every metric, is falling behind. But what you want to do is make sure that your exalted position is taking care of the people who you personally care about, is getting the goods. But you don't care about what happens to the city at large. We're going to take a call. Line 1, Tyrone.
Well, peace and blessing, and good morning.
Good morning.
My African Nubian queen.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Ms. Hill, I've always said, well, Miss Bell and Miss Elma know how much I love them, and I just want to say how much I love you also.
Ms. Hill, you saying how much he loves you too.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
But you know, my sis, when you're speaking truth to power, there's no way that they can debate it nor flip it. So the things that y'all are sharing are the everyday truths that have happened in our community each and every day.
Absolutely. That's what it is.
And people see it. People know it. And I think this election, folks going to see that people are not playing. And also, we got to do a little more. When I say we, I'm talking about those who are standing on the sideline, you know, waiting for folks like yourself to do everything. Y'all can't do everything. We need more folks participating. So when we talk about politics, when we're talking about living, everything breaks down to education and participation. And I can say you, my sisters, are doing well in sharing the information, sharing the knowledge, and making us aware of all the nonsense people are trying to put in our heads. And I heard earlier today that there was a report that was written that the reason why we are not part of the Kenny administration is because we are too intelligent.
Yes, we saw that.
We're going to talk about
We're going to talk about that.
Tyrone, we're going to talk about it. We're forced to go to we're forced, Tyrone, to go, to just keep listening.
They're too intelligent.
We want to be in private industry.
Yeah.
As if they hire us, like the doors of the floodgate. Tyrone.
But the thing is, again, one of the, truth to life is like y'all been saying. If they continue to take...
Tyrone, sorry that we had to cut you off. We have to go to break. You're listening to WRD 96.1, 900 AM. We'll be right back.
Vital Signs, Wednesdays on Reality Check with Charles Ellison, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. right here on onWURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live on WURDradio.com.
When you went car shopping, you meant business. You aced vehicle history searches and test drives. You out-salesmaned the salesman. Now you've got your wheels. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. With 401k tips and smart saving strategies, you'll have the info you need to get more for your future. Go to aceyourretirement.org, because when it comes to speeding past financial challenges, you're an ace. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Join Word Radio Friday, April 12th for a pre-celebration of the life and legacy of phenomenal athlete, veteran, and civil rights activist Jackie Robinson at Brown ShopRite, 52nd and Jefferson Streets, beginning at 10 a.m. We're hosting a pre-Jackie Robinson Day celebration featuring a live broadcast with guests who will provide commentary on Jackie Robinson. Come out and enjoy popcorn, hot dogs, and other refreshments. And come early. The first 42 people to start or renew their 4WORD membership at this event will receive a discounted rate of just $80. The Jackie Robinson celebration is presented by Brown ShopRite, Dietz & Watson, Amoroso's, Hers, and Canada Dry, and sponsored by Moravia Health. WordRadio.com.
Need a new mattress? Stop by to see Julian, the Mattress Man, located at 7421 Stenton Avenue. You deal directly with the owner, Julian, to ensure the best prices on name brand mattresses like Sealy, Posturepedic. Call 215-424-5550. That's 215-424-5550.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, watch me.
Word Radio congratulates the Philadelphia winner of our Level Up contest, Martine Augustin.
Level up.
Despite adversity early on, Martine's work ethic, compassion for people, and incredible decision-making has made her a leader in her community and an embodiment of determination. Martine is currently a criminal justice major in her junior year at Hampton University. She plans to pursue her law degree so that she can better serve her community someday as a Supreme Court justice. At just 20 years old, she has been a volunteer at Say Yes to Education, the Kwanzaa Cooperative, Ngoma Tribute to the Drum, Asada Sankofa Sisterhood, and she founded her own organization, AOA, Ambition Overcomes Adversity, where she mentors young people to overcome any obstacles they may face. Through focus, a loving and supportive community, and sheer will, Martine Augustin has certainly leveled up.
Level up.
You're listening to The Source
On Word Radio.
96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
You're listening to WRD 96.1 FM, 900 AM. You're listening to The Source. You're listening to Black Women's Leadership. I'm Joanne Bell here today with Amber Chappelle and Rita Hill, and we're going to go directly to line 2, Hamilton.
Hello?
Good morning, Hamilton.
Good morning.
Yes, I'd like to just say there's a woman who ran it as Democrat, only black woman that ever did in Philadelphia for mayor, Queen of Bass, been on the ballot 3 times as far as 3,000 voters have signed her petition for her to speak. They would not let her in the televised debate. I'm her brother. We're out here 23 years fighting against racial discrimination. We're the only really civil rights movement in America today. And you all say you care about the poor. Well, why don't you help Queen of Bass? I mean, this is one of the biggest stories in America today. Out here 23 years. My dad was out here 16 years in his 80s. He got on the ballot 3 times. Here's a woman not allowed to speak in the televised debate on the ballot in 1999 and 2007. I believe wouldn't let her speak at the Constitution Center, had her escorted out by guards. And you want people to vote? she's the one that cares for the poor people. There won't be no people laying on the streets, ghettos, if the Queen of Bass was mayor, because we got plenty. We just have so much corruption, and we have kept the black community behind someone who's really active. What about that?
Thank you. I think there are a lot of people who could be considered good advocates. So we don't only have one, and so the charge is that you get a good message, and you get out there. And another thing, I think that when you want to be elected, you have to work across all constituencies. Mm-hmm. And so while we respect Queen of Bass, she's but one. Line 3, Ron.
Miss Emma Bell.
Hi there.
This is Miss Joanne's day today, and I call her the butterfly today.
Okay.
And Miss Joanne,
Right.
Yes.
That's right.
Mr. Ryan called you the butterfly.
Yeah.
Thank you. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
That's right.
But wait, listen. The reason I call Miss Joanne the butterfly is stronger than a lion. Well, how can a butterfly, something as fragile as a butterfly that goes through a metamorphosis, which we go through a metamorphosis coming out of the mother womb into the light. The reason I say Miss Bell is the butterfly because it's a symbol of serenity and humbleness. And Miss Bell, in your life, it took a lot of strength to be humble. May you continue to be humble. Fly away, butterfly. Take them two ladies with you. Have a nice day, Miss Bell.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you so much. Line 4, Maurice.
How is everybody today?
Good morning, Maurice.
Now, you know what I'm getting ready to say. When you started off, you gave a little commentary about why we're going through such trouble. All you got to do is look at city council and the mayor. In a city that's 47% black, we have nothing.
Right.
We have nothing to represent us. And why is that? That's because he doesn't care. All he cares is about that construction and making sure that everybody gets paid. Why aren't we getting paid? They got rules and regulations for hiring so many ethnics for work. But why isn't that being done? It's been in effect for years, but nobody talks about it. We never bring those people on that's supposed to make sure that we got the right count of people working at these construction sites. We just let them go without even talking about it. We got rules and regulations about that, but nobody seems to get fired up. And I'm going to close with this. You say we have a lot of people that could run for mayor. I haven't seen one because they have to. Where are they? They're invisible. Nobody spoke up. Nobody. You know, you got to at least start 2 years ahead of time in this city to get people fired up to vote. We only get 20% during a primary. So we got. That's how we got Larry Krasner. I can't believe we got him with only a 20% vote. So we really got to work hard. It's up to us to start our massive voter registration drive, and after that, massive voting drive. We got to remember, we did it once with Obama. We can do it with ourselves. Not go door to door. Starts with the block captains. Start with them first, and then we can get to the local people. I'd just like to get your opinion on that. Thank you.
I agree with you, and I'm sure Emmett will weigh in here. I think it's a process. It's a marathon. We have to wake people up first, and to understand that they do have power and that they can make change, and we've got to take that sleep out of their eyes and make them see that everything that they see before them they need to question, and that if you have a city where the same circumstances continues year after year, something is wrong. Something is very, very wrong. And I'm going to say this. It didn't just get wrong because we have Mayor Kenny. It's been wrong for a long time.
That's right.
And we're now at the point in our lives that we see the stuff that's happening at the national level, that our country can elect someone like Donald Trump. And all over America, people are waking up to see that the power has been taken out of their hands. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the fights, because when parties fight, and it was, what is that African proverb, when elephants fight, the only thing that happens is the grass gets stomped on. People have to wake up, and that's what we're asking them.
Yeah, that's why we have this program, is to educate the community. Because, as Joanne said, they have to wake up, take the sleep out of their eyes, and look and see what is happening to our communities. And it's very sad. If you were to look around, as we mentioned earlier, kids are killing each other, or they're taking their own lives. They have no hope. They look at what's going on with their parents and how their parents are struggling. They can't make ends meet. They don't have enough money. They can't get a job. And they can't get, if they're fortunate enough to start a small business, they can't get a contract. And this has gone on for years and years. And we at Black Women's Leadership Council talked about this. We had over 300 women come together a couple of years ago and talk about what are the issues in this city. And we've been working on them ever since. And the Black Women's Leadership Council has just decided to take the lead. As you know, the black women are the ones who do the voting, and we're now saying we have to help educate the community. And I think the community understands what we're saying. They knew it all along, but they felt like they couldn't do anything about it. And so now we're trying to make sure that they know they can do something about it. The most important thing they can do is vote on May 21st. Come out and give the people that deserve to be there their vote, or put new people in. That's where we are right now.
But in the process, we want you to ask questions. Don't go to these forums that's having Black Women's Leadership tomorrow night at Bright Hope Baptist Church from 6 to 9. We're going to do the with Women Connected. Women Connected is the AKAs, the Deltas, the Coalition of 100 Black Women, and Black Women's Leadership tomorrow night at Bright Hope Baptist Church at between 6 and 9, and we'll give the address in a minute. We are having a forum for all at-large candidates. And you come and ask these questions, because these are the people who are going to represent you. Every forum that there is, if it's in your neighborhood near you, go out, ask questions. Don't allow people to hide. We're going to do one for the mayor's race. We're going to do one for the judicial, and we want people to be informed. We're going to do one meet and greet so you can meet your district council people. Ask them questions. Don't accept what's being told to you. Come, ask your questions. Line 3, Madeline.
Thank you so very, very much. This is so interesting. I don't even know where to start. But I'm going to tell you, since Sunday's paper, has anybody talked about this and I slept through it or something? The person is going to be heading the SVU, which is the Sexual Harassment, Special Victims Unit in the police department.
I don't think that
have filed suits against him. And I'm looking at this, and I almost went off. I called Jetty. I was about to have a heart attack. I said, Jetty, this is crazy. Why would he be heading Special Victims Unit? He's got, they have paid out, I don't know how many dollars here. I'd have to go back and start reading again from the front. It's 3 pages. It's on the front page of the Enquirer for Sunday. It's on page 19 and 20, 18 and 19. It is like, who is this man that he could do all of this and talk to women like they're nothing? And then I go, Jetty, listen, every 38 minutes in America, a black man is being killed by police. And if we let this go on in Philadelphia, I don't know what's going to happen to us. Because all of his buddies, if they do something, he holds them up too.
Absolutely.
I don't know if Ross and them have lost their mind.
Well, I think, Madeline, that here's what I'm concerned about. That we give different weight to different things. And this is not an excuse for Jewel Williams. But if you can point out Jewel Williams's indiscretions, then clearly under the mayor's own purview would be the police department. And I know that there are union rules and there are other sorts of things, and I'm not quite sure an inspector comes under the union. I'll have to check. But I believe that somebody who commits those kinds of offenses has no place in enforcement at all. And those are the kinds of things that we need to raise with the mayor because it's under his watch. Rita, what do you think?
Well, what I think is that most people aren't informed about what's going on in the city. And so when we come on the air every week and we talk about the issues that are in the paper, the issues that are affecting the community's lives, I think that we're doing a service. We're doing our constituents and our community a service. And that's what we're here to do. So as I was listening to both you and Miss Emma about the forums that are coming up and our focus on getting information out to our community, what I say is that we have to galvanize and unify, come out to the forums and be involved in the forums. And like you said, it's a unique opportunity because you're going to be able to face the candidates and speak truth to power, confront them with the issues that are important. This is your opportunity. And so
to ask the question that Madeline is asking. We have to ask the question, why hasn't he been fired? Why hasn't he been fired?
And
that,
now he's being
not
promoted,
only that,
isn't he?
right?
Yes.
Not
He's
only
being
that
promoted.
question, but all questions that come to bear on him being in office and staying in office. And
No,
what is he doing?
not just the, we're talking about the I think the police inspector who had been accused of sexual harassment has been promoted, and we want to know why. And that's the question that Madeline is asking, why? And that's a question that we can go to forums and ask directly to the mayor, why is he still there?
But to that point, why is he still there? But they're not, so the citizens are not going to get the opportunity to speak directly to him unless they participate in the forums. So come out.
Or any forums, not just Black Women's Leadership and the Women Connected. Any opportunity that you have, come out, get informed.
Because
it doesn't matter who has it.
That's right. Be informed, be armed with the information, but confront that power. Confront that power with the truth. The question, pose the question and ask for a response. Demand a response. That's what the forums are there for, is for that confrontation, that opportunity to speak the truth, to ask the questions.
So, Madeline, thank you for your call, and we're going to go to break. You're listening to WRD 96.1 FM, 900 AM. You're listening to The Source, Black Women's Leadership, and we'll be right back.
The Kimmel Center offers free arts education programs to schools across the region. Teaching artists visit classrooms to educate, engage, and inspire the next generation using creative learning experiences, and schools take trips to the Kimmel Center for live performances. The Kimmel Center is committed to educating Philadelphia's youth by providing access to quality arts. For more information, visit kimmelcenter.org.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces. Just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Be heard. Want another way to join the conversation?
Follow us on social media
using the hashtag onWURD.
Be heard.
Stay connected to Word Radio.
Independent Black Media.
Since 1904, Philly's top sandwich pros and homemakers have always started the exact same way, with those legendary Amoroso's rolls baked fresh daily. Word family, put Amoroso's rolls on your shopping list for your kids' school lunches and your next family gathering. Want to make your very best sandwiches? Always start with the very best sandwich rolls. Pick them up today at your favorite supermarket or food store. Amoroso's, why Philly's sandwiches are world famous. Einstein Bariatrics wants to talk with you about how losing weight can impact every aspect of your life. They know weight loss surgery is no easy decision, but will be with you every step of the way. With nationally recognized expertise and a full team to support you from the moment you reach out, Einstein is committed to doing whatever it takes to help you succeed long after your surgery. They've already helped thousands start a new chapter in their lives and will do the same for you. This changes everything. Get started with a free information session at EinsteinWeightLoss.com. You're listening to The Source on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
We're back. You're listening to Word, WRD, 96.1 FM, 900 AM. And we're going to go to line 2, George.
Ladies, good evening. How are you? Well, good afternoon. And I'm glad that I caught all y'all together.
Good morning.
How many, at Bright Hope, when did you say that is?
That's tomorrow evening, April 11th, at between 6 and 9 at Bright Hope Baptist Church.
And that's where all the
this is going to be the at-large, all of the at-large candidates.
Well, we know at-large, but I'm saying all the organizations there's, what is that, about 11, 12 organizations part of that? Alpha,
4.
Kappas, pardon me?
It's 4.
4.
4.
Yes.
I would say they're about one of the more, say, people who have influence that we would say in the city, other than your group that's, you know, Black women in leadership, what, it's 27 years now or longer?
It's been about, it's been about 30 years, yes.
Yeah, I know, but it's because I can understand it very well. And the thing is, Ms. Chappelle, you know, you come to council pretty much every Thursday that you can. And I'm really disappointed at you having, like, checked a few of your people, mainly women. Women get away with a lot of stuff in the city, but they never call the task. And it's your responsibility, Ms. Chappelle, because you know better, to check them when they're wrong.
But I haven't been to council in a long time. I was just there the other day.
You were there the other day.
Because one of my friends was honored, but I haven't been there in months.
Ms. Chappelle, you haven't been there, but when you come there, it's an effect.
Thank you.
Let's not make excuses, you know. I mean, take the hit when you take it. You're a big girl. You handle yours very well. You've been around a long time.
Right.
But, George, who is she supposed to check? Because I'm interested.
So, when she was there, when you have a council person going against seniors, I mean, outright disrespectfully going against seniors when seniors have a chance to get all their, like, they're going to give them a tax credit of saying all your principals, the only thing you have to pay for is the initial fee. We're going to wipe all the rest. But when you have a female council person who fights vehemently for the administration, and the administration is not fighting it, and it's mainly seniors not mainly, all seniors, you're saying you got a chance to where so you can save your house or save whatever, and ramp and rave and make all that noise, and no one ever checks these females.
Well, you're right. That was horrible, and it just happened. I saw it.
No, we've been checking it.
We've been checking it. Don't you think we
opened this show talking about it. We've been checking it, and we have checked it privately. Sometimes you say things to people that you, out of respect, that you don't want to say publicly, that you reach out and you tell them how you feel privately. We did not let that go unchecked.
We did not, and we heard every bit of it, and I have to tell you, my shout out goes to Cindy Bass, because she really dealt with the issues, and she was really good, but they still wouldn't listen to her, and voted it down. And I am very upset about that, because we need that tax amnesty.
And George, I'm going to say something else. We believe that these fights that are happening, whether by district, we don't care if you get along personally. That is not our problem.
Exactly.
We want you to respect the fact that we have certain needs in our community. It is not about you. It is not about who you like. It is not about districts. It is about the people. Now, we can like each individual person, but we are not going to continue to countenance the behavior of these fights against each other that cause our community to suffer. We are on it. We're going to continue to be on it, and we're not going to let up. And we say it with love, because one of the individuals involved, we love that person, but we tell that person when they're wrong, they're wrong. Line 4, Dave.
Hello, thank you, Dave from Northern Liberties. Thank you so much for taking my call. Thank you for your percussionist for the music that she did.
Isn't Kayla? Kayla is the bomb. Okay, yes she is.
Yes she is. Now what I wanted to say is, yeah, you have certain people, certain men that even call in on your program who you think they're in alliance with you, but they're not. They're more critical of you than a lot of people. And what I want to say is, what they've all been wrong is when they want to tell you how unqualified these people are to take city jobs. What does it take? You have to be a brainiac for somebody to walk up to you and you work for the city, and for them to treat you like an animal. I don't care what department that you go to. What a lot of people, that destroyed the middle class when they tried to destroy the ability for people to be able to get a job with the city. That was a legitimate job, and it helped make the middle class. Just like people that went to these black universities, a lot of them transferred to major universities and were very, very qualified to do so. Now, I just don't believe that what they're saying, this was a demise, and it still is a demise for a lot of us that are very qualified to take those jobs, and more than qualified to take these jobs, working for the city. And it's just people that don't remember that, say in the 60s, 70s, 80s, maybe 60s and 70s and even 50s, we had those jobs. And they were a good stepping stone. You can check out right now how many people have developed corporations and private business because of having those jobs working for the city. Because they were skilled enough to get out of these black universities and take these jobs, these trade schools, and they end up having jobs with the post office and things like that, while they also had a degree on the side to maybe teach, some of their own people. I think this is all a distortion and a smokescreen, and I'm so thankful that you ladies are on the air.
Thank you, Dave. And I want to pick up on a point. It wasn't until the 1960s and across this country where, after the Civil Rights Act, where African Americans, the doors to private industry opened up a little bit. most often black people went to college, got a degree, and had to work at the post office, and that was considered a good job because the only fairness is where you could take a test and come through the civil service. And it's a shame that we can be in 2019 and a mayor of the city of Philadelphia doesn't understand that history, doesn't understand the history that we have been locked out for years and that we are behind. And to say that talented African Americans are so very talented that they are flooding the gates to corporate America is just ridiculous. Go count how many work at Comcast. Go look in the corporate suites of any of the companies that are either headquartered or in Philadelphia. Go downtown at 12 o'clock today and count how many African American people that you see leave these buildings in professional positions and tell me whether or not it's overflooded. Go through a directory of all of the local companies and see how many people of color are there. We even have a problem in the social service industry where we have big social service agencies that employ people at the lower level, but in the higher paying positions, they're not employed. So I want to know, where are these very talented African American people going and being employed? I would love to know that. The city of Philadelphia has been the place where people can have a middle class income. They can get a pension. And that's the services where African Americans have gone. In the federal government, where you can have a fair way of being getting positions, where you can go through the civil service. That's how we've gotten there, not through the floodgate of open doors of private industry. We're going to go to line 1, Deacon Abram.
Good morning, my sisters.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, the Bible says our people perish for lack of knowledge. I want to commend you ladies, especially Emma Chappelle. I remember her from back in the day, and she was one of my sheroes back in the day when she had tried to help her community with that bank, you know. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to have to add you two ladies to my list as my shero. I listen to your program every morning following Dr. Smith, and you are a wealth of knowledge. You bring the information to the community, and I said to myself this morning as I was listening to you ladies, I said, you know, our people don't appreciate a good thing. And I'm not calling all things. I'm going to say the information that y'all bring, you know, and it's good. Now, as far as I talked to my pastor, Reverend Hall, and the politicians had a habit for years, and some of the preachers are still allowing them to do this. They come in on a Sunday morning to disrupt our services, to speak to the congregation. And I told my pastor, I said, it wasn't right. Sunday morning is our day of worship. Why not let them come in on have a political forum on a Saturday or Friday night? Come in so the constituents can ask them questions. See, the politicians have never been asked the right questions for years. And so
I like your idea, though. I like your idea.
Yes.
This is Emma. I like your idea. I work a lot with the churches, and I go to Reverend Hall's church from time to time. And, in fact, we worship in there. But what I wanted to say is I like the idea of having the meetings, what do they call them, the forums. In the church on different days other than Sunday.
Well, we got to go to break, and when we come back, we're going to have further discussion on that. You're listening to WRD 96.1 FM, 900 AM. You're listening to The Source. We're Black Women's Leadership. Joanne Bell, Emma Chappelle, Rita Hill, and we will be right back.
Support independent black media and join the Forward movement now at 215-425-7875 or visit wordradio.com.
Family Therapy Vignette Moments with Dr. Lucille iJoy. Oh yes, things are getting hot, hot, hot. It's time to get out your scorecards and dust them off and sharpen your pencils and pens and click on your social media. It's time to register and vote big time. And I say, the rapping therapist and Grandma iJoy, learn this rap with me. Come on, get your tongue, teeth, lips, and hips ready. Let's get the whole world singing and saying, I, you, he, she, they, we, all must vote. I, you, he, she, they, we, all must vote. I say, I, you, he, she, they, we all must vote. We are in this voting thing together. Talk to your young people, your family, your new voters. Have family discussions about voting, the necessity of voting.
RG Electrical Inspections provides electrical inspections for realtors, licensed electricians, and homeowners. RG is a certified plans examiner and licensed underwriter providing assistance for PICO outages. RG is also listed on PICO's website. RG Electrical Inspections is a licensed and insured underwriter serving Philadelphia and surrounding areas. Call if you have plans to review today, 267-902-1655.
Drive in with the rapping professor, Dr. Aaron Smith. Drive home with Charles Ellison. This is Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Philadelphia, independent black media.
We're back. You're listening to 96.1 FM, 900 AM. You're listening to The Source. You're listening to Black Women's Leadership. I'm Joanne Bell here with Emma Chappelle and Rita Hill. Listen, Kayla's trying to get us to calm down a little bit. So she's been putting on music in between it, you know, because we get worked up in here. And Kayla said, okay, I got to calm these women down.
Put some nice
because, so some soothing music so that we don't go off the charts today. Okay?
Mood music.
We'll put some mood music on, slow us down, make us think a little bit differently about the topics that we have. So we're just concerned. And what I always wonder is that Philadelphia is the poorest American city out of all of the top cities. You've got to continue to ask yourself the question, why? Why? And you'll get, well, it's education. Well, it's this. But you're economically knocked out. You have accepted the notion that you put all African Americans in this one little piece of pie and have them fight with each other. And one of the things that I've seen over my 35, 40 years in this city is that we will be angrier with each other than we will with the people who are actually causing this.
That's right.
That's right.
We will fight. We have more fight with each other. We're no different as a African American community than the very gang wars that we saw on the streets in the 60s and the 70s, or the drug wars. We take a corner, and if you cross across it, you know, it is just, you know, so politicians identify themselves by the sections of the city that they live in. And they have so much disdain for each other when you're coming from another section.
That's right.
It makes no sense to me whatsoever. And this has been going on for years. There's a braggadocious about what we get for our district if we live in the Northwest, and what happens in West Philly, and what happens in South Philly. Like, you're not all a part of the city of Philadelphia.
Because we're all affected.
Yes.
We're all affected.
And we're not all benefiting.
No, but we're all affected negatively.
Yes.
So, Joanne, I just say that it's all interconnected. It's not just education. It's not just economic development. It's not just law and justice. It's all intertwined to form one institution of racism that combines to keep black people in the state of poverty that they're in today. If you can't get equal access to health care, or the health care that you get is culturally incompetent in understanding the issues that black people face, you're locked out. If there are no contracts that you can qualify for, or you qualify for a contract, you go after it, but you can't service the contract because of lack of capital, you're locked out.
Right.
If the education system for your children is subpar, and the buildings that they have to enter every day are toxic and making them sick, and we don't address the trauma that's in our communities that our children have to go through daily, then we're locked out. If the criminal justice system is set up against black and brown people, and we are incarcerated at the highest rates, some of the highest rates in the country happen here in Pennsylvania.
Right.
We are locked out. Our health care, education, economic development,
we're locked out.
We're locked out. We're systematically on all fronts locked out.
And you know, I just want to add to that. Every business that everybody runs has to have a plan. And I wonder if somewhere in this city there is a plan to lock us out. Not include us. It should be a plan to include us, and I would love to see it. But it appears to me that there's a plan to lock us out. And somebody has it, or a number of people have it, and they're implementing the plan to the T.
Strategically.
Over time.
That plan has been implemented to lock us out.
Because you can't run any business, and the city is a business. You cannot run any business without a plan.
What about the term benign neglect? Is that we don't, it is that it may not be a design plan, because it's part of the institution of racism.
It's institutional.
So it's institutional. It's inherent in the system.
That's right.
But what happens is that, and here's why I keep beating on the elected officials, because the elected officials, they understand how they get elected. We give them the votes. The money comes from someplace else.
Right.
And we're very easily, there's something that I find
and there's a reason why the money comes from someplace else.
Yeah, because we don't have any money.
We don't have any money, and they don't help us get any.
We don't have any money. But the other thing is that, and we talked a little bit about this, about council prerogative. I'm for council prerogative. Let's not get it, as the kids say, twisted. The people who are funding these people to attack council prerogative, they're not doing it because they have your best interest in heart. They just want to have a free shot at taking your community.
That's right.
And if
taking control.
Taking control, right. So if they can remove the council person out of the equation, and there's a lot of that is going on. You have to dig deeper. I got an email, and it talked about the people behind all of this notion, and they're developers that are coming in, and they see Philadelphia ripe for that.
For the taking.
For ripe for the taking. What do you think about that, Rita?
Well, I think that what's going on with the council prerogative is because they're challenging an incumbent who's had a record of utilizing their council prerogative, which is, in my opinion, fine, because it gives that council person the ability to interact with the community and to act on behalf of the community, whereby maybe they wouldn't be able to. They would have to follow some strict statute or rule, but that's not what's the council prerogative allows them the ability to respond to their constituents in a way that's going to benefit their constituents, and they are the people who put them in office. So someone challenging them is going to use that same council prerogative once they get in office.
Absolutely.
And also,
make no mistake.
Also going down to...
and it might not be in our favor.
Go down to Kenyatta's district. I am always suspect of the pounding and the hounding that he's getting from the corporate press. And it's deliberate, to sway that election down there.
Mm-hmm.
And the accusations that are being made against him, and it was about a black developer. And this black developer is someone who has pulled himself up by the bootstraps from coming from prison. Now, we argue all of this returning citizen stuff and respecting people who have gone to jail, and then we want to blackball them and that they can't participate in the economy. Every time black people try to participate in the same economy as whites, they get knocked down. They're going after Kenyatta not because Kenyatta is a bad council person. They're going after Kenyatta because he's sitting in a very lucrative district that they want.
Absolutely.
Right, and they want to haul
and
out.
And so therefore they use the corporate press.
That's right.
To go after him, and because they don't want him to do anything that enhances African Americans in that district. The same way, let me just say something else. John Street was okay until he went to Med Week and stood on the stage and said the brothers and the sisters are running the city. and then about 10 minutes later, they had a bug in his office.
That's right.
We got to remember that this is a city that holds back black economic progress.
By design.
Systematically. That's right.
Holds back black economic progress. You are all right as long as you ain't asking for nothing. And you're all right whether or not you don't ask for too much.
Too much. As long as you're not asking for too much.
Too much. No, don't ask for no fair share.
No.
And don't ask for no more than 10%.
And
don't have a contract that lasts too long that you may be able to build some wealth and to boost the community, because that's when you become a target. And we need to be clear about that.
And that's why Kenyatta's a target. So there was a big article in the Inquirer today about Kenyatta and his challenger, Lauren Vitas, who is saying that Kenyatta has abused his councilmatic prerogative.
Yeah.
And that he needs to be run out of office because of that. And that he is not identifying and working on the gentrification that's going on in the neighborhood. No real...
Coming from a gentrifier.
Coming from a gentrifier,
yeah.
And she lives in the neighborhood. She's a longtime resident of the Graduate Hospital area.
Which is not in Point Breeze.
No, she came from Jersey.
Right. But she moved there, and she's lived there for a long time.
In Graduate Hospital area, which I don't think is in
Well,
Point Breeze.
Graduate Hospital area was gentrified and taken back.
Yeah.
That was an area
South
where
Street and all
African Americans
That's
lived,
right.
where they chased them out, and there were long-term homeowners, and the gentrifiers came in and used that tax delinquency to commandeer their homes so that they could take over the area. Is that the area she lives in?
That's the area she lives in, and that's one of the things that Kenyatta spearheaded. He spearheaded the owner-occupied property tax relief program called LOOP, and he expanded it from being 10 years to the life of the owner. And then he also authored a law that expanded the senior tax freeze program to reach more low and moderate income residents in the district. So he not only used his council prerogative, but he has also authored taxes that benefited longtime residents of Point Breeze. So that's not gentrification. That's helping the constituents that put him in office.
Okay. That's great.
Let's go to line 2, Jacob.
Hey, peace be unto you, sisters. How y'all doing?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. You know, I'm so proud that you put these
We can't hear you, Jacob. Talk directly into the phone.
Yes, okay. Maybe, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm thankful to the Creator that He put me in a town where strong black women. I might like you sisters, and I want to add Sister Sarah Lomax Reese, the owner of WURD.
She got a lot of heart.
Yes.
And I'd like to throw my sister in there, Veronica Joyner.
Oh, yes.
Just rumble to do the right thing.
That's right.
You know, I just want to speak on what Deacon, what he called y'all say. I want to resort to Bible scripture where it says, when you find a wife, you find a good thing. So it wasn't all bad that he said things. because in Bible scripture it says that. As Gino say, am I right? I say. So I just want to, in other words, commend you, sisters, for y'all see a lot of the problems that we have here, and it all comes from, if you want to call it that, supremacy. People thinking that they have power over us because our skin is darker, and that's not going to be the way of the future. And I'm glad to see that you all keep on ringing that bell to wake us up to what the powers that we have politically, the powers that we have financially when we do it right, and all of that. I see us waking up, so I'm going to keep hope alive. And I'm
I like that. We're going to keep hope alive.
Keep hope alive.
We're definitely going to keep hope alive. It is so important for us to open up our eyes that sometimes they used to say all our skin folk ain't our kinfolk.
Oh, that's true.
And so that we have partners, it is not just an issue where it's all African Americans. It's all people.
That's right.
And a lot of it is that it's designed to keep the poor poor and the rich rich, and those in between, the wannabes struggling and fighting each other.
Yep.
And we got to come together because it works in somebody else's best interest when we fight. It works in somebody's best interest. And they can pull those strings because money pulls strings. And money has pulled strings in this town for a long time.
I mean, especially if you're only getting 10% or less.
That's right.
Of what's going on economically within the city. If you're only getting 10% or less, you're going to fight tooth and nail for the little bit that you have. How about we expand it beyond 10% and we look and we have a vision for our community that we could be more and that we could get more. And if we expanded the vision of what is possible for us, we wouldn't fight over the little bit that's left to us.
So I listened last night through Facebook. The black journalist had the Anthony Williams on, and he was interviewed by our good friend Ernest Owens.
Oh, was he?
Yeah,
really?
It was. I thought it was a good interview. I thought it was a very telling interview. And while I couldn't see the journalists that were asking the questions because the way the Facebook did it, it kept the camera on
the two people
on Anthony Williams and Ernest Owens. And apparently, at some point in time, Anthony had spoken up about the U.S. Facilities PRWT contract.
Okay.
And the mayor specifically, people sent their statement over to be read because they knew that Anthony Williams was going to raise it.
Oh.
And what they said, because I want to give clarity to this, they pretended that the reasons that U.S. Facilities lost the contract was because they were disqualified, because they didn't follow the rules. Now, let me tell you about, the game called I Gotcha.
Yeah.
When we don't want you to have something, we look for a reason not to give it to you.
That's right.
And so we play I Gotcha. So the first time that this contract was bidded, they knew exactly who they wanted for the contract. They wanted their pals, the Elliott Lewis. They got caught in that process because they jumped the gun, listed that they were going to award the contract to Elliott Lewis without going through the rest of the process. So when lawyers got involved and certain politicians got involved, they knew that they couldn't go forward, so they pulled it. They gave the extension to U.S. Facilities, PRWT, but then they put the contract back out again. Now here's what they did. It came back out, I think it was December of 17. And this is the first time that contract was e-filed. In other words, before you bundle it, you take it, you give it to the department, they go through it. But this was the very first time that this particular contract had to be e-filed.
Okay, electronically filed.
That's right. Okay. So the contract had a due date sometime in mid-December. So they started, by the end of January, the department started calling people for their orals. And right in the middle of that, they send a disqualifying letter to U.S. facilities to say that the last 2 pages that electronically, which was some sort of a cost summary, it was a summary, 2 summary pages was missing.
Right.
And therefore that they were disqualified. That's an I gotcha moment.
Yeah.
Now the city.
That's a manufacturer.
And with a computer, it can happen.
It can happen, right? Particularly when you're loading, it doesn't tell you you're not finished. You got more pages or whatever. Are you sure you're finished?
Right.
Those are the things that the state system does. Now, this is the first time they're doing this. But they wanted a reason to disqualify them because they wanted to get them out of the way.
That's right.
So that was their I got you moment. The rules say that the city could have accepted that because they could have gotten those 2 pages from them. And why did they wait a whole month and a half
to tell them
that? Because they were playing games. They were playing games.
Mm-hmm.
Then they got caught by their own I gotcha because the people that they actually wanted, when they were looking for further things to disqualify PRWT USF, they ended up disqualifying Elliott Lewis because they had exceeded the campaign amounts. In fact, they had conceded the campaign amounts themselves. So, and my sister has this thing that she quotes from an old Richard Pryor thing. It said, I wanted to go take somebody and I got tooken myself. So they got tooken themselves.
That's what happened.
And so therefore, now they got outsmarted. So now both companies got disqualified.
Right.
Now what happens is that the extension goes on and on, but the meanness in them said, we're not going to throw this out, and we're going to go with the third bidder, who was so surprised that they got it because someone told them to bid, because they knew that this was not going to be lucrative for them. So they go to a company that's, I think, $3 billion company called Jones Lang LaSalle.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
A Chicago-based company.
Yeah.
And said, okay, we're going to give you this contract. Then the 2 minority subgroups that is on this is Donna Ali with Team Clean. This contract is 40% of her business.
That's
for
right.
PRWT.
She's a part of the triplex, and the triplex part is 40% of her business.
Mm-hmm.
They know that they're going to decimate her business. Then you have Scotland Yard. They've taken it away from them. So in a meeting, so that I hear, when there was a discussion with public property, okay, if you're going to take USF out, let's have Jones Lang LaSalle keep the 2 minority subs.
Right.
The deputy commissioner said, no, we don't want them.
Ooh.
We don't want them. And so they went to a company in Florida, a cleaning company in Florida who's never had a job this size before, and they attached them to this. That's who's going to get it. So you take 40% of the business of a minority woman-owned company, and you give it to a Florida company. And then you take a company like Scotland Yard, and they're giving it to a startup company out of South Philly with 2 people.
And that's all the guards.
Yes.
Mm-hmm, the security.
That's the game. Who I'm sure, if we delve deeply, we will find some other ties to that company.
Right.
And the games that are getting played.
Yeah.
There are games, folks, that are getting played in this city. So I felt compelled to answer that because the mayor felt compelled to have a lie, or it's not necessarily a lie, but shaping of they were disqualified because they didn't follow the rules. Mm-hmm. So since you said that, Mr. Mayor, I wanted to put clarity there. I want to straighten up the facts a little bit for you.
And tell the whole truth.
Tell the whole truth.
That's right.
We'll be right back. You're listening to WURD, WRD 96.1 FM, 900 AM. You're listening to The Source. You're listening to Black Women's Leadership, and we'll be right back.
Brothers and sisters!
Don't miss The Source.
Weekdays, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
on WURD Radio.
WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
We first opened about 10 years ago. We were small, just a few of us, but it was exciting. I always dreamt of having my own business. It was kind of slow at first, but things started picking up. We had big plans, but in our wildest dreams, we never thought we'd have this much work. Yeah, with so many businesses caught off guard by the storm, Reed Waste Management has never been busier.
What will become of your business after a disaster? Nearly 2/3 of businesses aren't prepared for an emergency, and 40% of businesses that experience a disaster never recover. Make an emergency plan now, before it's too late. For a free online tool that helps you develop an emergency plan to keep your business up and running should disaster strike, visit ready.gov/business. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, the American Red Cross, and the Ad Council.
This is Word Radio, independent black media.
The National Association of University Women presents a youth conference, April 13th at Impact Your World in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Topics include cyberbullying, financial aid, and youth entrepreneurship. Visit 2019 NAUW-youthconference.eventbrite.com.
This is Cody Anderson. Palace Travel provided me with one of the most memorable trips I've taken to Ghana, West Africa. Palace Travel specializes in tours to Africa, including Ghana, Senegal, and South Africa. Throughout the year, Palace Travel has scheduled trips to Africa, including the next Panafest celebration in Ghana, July 2019. The trip of a lifetime, the historic return of the African diaspora after 400 years in the Americas, August 5th to 14th. Africa's improvement on Coachella, the annual Afrochella Festival in Ghana, December 27th to January 3rd. Ring in the new year in Ghana. Call Palace Travel to reserve your place on one of their scheduled Africa trips with convenient payment plans. Call Palace Travel today at 215-471-8555 or visit their website at palacetravel.com.
You're listening to The Source on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
We're back. You're listening to 96.1 FM, 900 AM. You're listening to The Source, WRD. I'm here with Rita Hill, Emma Chappelle, and I'm Joanne Bell. Rita, you got something to share.
I do. Jackie Robinson Day. So, Word family, join us this Friday, April 12th, for the 4th annual pre-celebration of the life and legacy of athlete, veteran, and civil rights activist Jackie Robinson at Brown ShopRite, 52nd and Jefferson Streets, beginning at 10 a.m. Bring the family. Join us for a live broadcast hosted by Chris Murray and guests including experts on Jackie Robinson, the Negro Leagues, and the Philadelphia Stars. Enjoy hot dogs provided by Dietz & Watson, rolls by Amoroso, popcorn and snacks by Hers, and refreshments from Canada Dry. There will be face painting and fun for the young ones. Come early to be among the first 42 people to start or renew your Forward membership and receive a discounted rate of just $80. You could qualify to win a $20 Visa gift card and other prizes. Be there this Friday for the pre-Jackie Robinson Day celebration, presented in part by Brown ShopRite, Amoroso's, Canada Dry, Dietz & Watson, Hers, Moravia, Dedicated Senior Medical Center, and Aetna.
Sounds like a fun thing.
That does sound fun.
I know. I think we ought to get down there and get some of them Dietz & Watson hot dogs.
I do too. You know I heard that, didn't you?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Makes it, look, we're hungry here today because, you know, this is a 3-hour show.
Yeah.
So any mention of food, you know,
and
it's
I
like,
know we hop right on it.
You know, we as Kayla told me, people eat in the studio all the time. She came back in and there was a whole bunch of, what you say, Kayla?
Popcorn box. Popeyes.
Popeyes. Okay, we got to eat healthy, though. Okay. So, Emma, what else is going on? Tell us about our event.
Okay, well, I'm excited about our event. It's going to be held tomorrow evening, Thursday, April the 11th, at, as mentioned, Bright Hope Baptist Church, which is at Broad and Cecil B. Moore Avenue, or 1601 North 12th Street. It's being given by Women Connected, and their theme is One More Reason to Vote. It's going to be exciting because we're bringing out all of the at-large candidates, at-large city council candidates. And many of them have indicated that they're coming, and we're looking forward to you all coming and asking the questions. This event is being given by Women Connected, which consists of Black Women's Leadership Council, AKA sorority, and of course the Delta sorority. So we're looking forward to it, and we're excited about it, and the women are ready. We're ready to ask the hard questions of these people who are running for city council at large. We hope you'll be there too. 6 to 9 p.m. at Bright Hope Baptist Church, 1601 North 12th Street. See you there.
Yeah, we need you there because we want you to ask these hard questions. We've got, I think it's about 30-something people running at large,
That's right.
which is a long list and it's confusing.
Yes.
And, you know, we want to shine light. I don't want you to just go in the booth and pick the, you know, any number randomly. We've got some pretty strong people
that are running.
That are running, and you need to question them, ask them about their platform. It's
right.
really important.
There was an interesting article today that talked about that their millennials are running. And I know you saw it, the candidates that were running, and they named 4 of them. And I was really happy to see that young lady, Catherine Gilmore Richardson, that we had on the radio show, is in the newspaper today, and they're talking about her chances of winning. So at Meet the Millennials, it's called, 8 are vying for at-large council seats, and 2 taking on incumbents. So I like this. I really like to see some of the younger people coming out, and we hope that you'll come and hear them.
We have been pushing young people because it's time for some of us to exit the stage.
Right.
And to try to exit it gracefully, and to give younger people who have a different and a fresher perspective about what's going on. And that doesn't mean we push out all older people, because we have some pretty good people who we think ought to return.
That's right.
And we've said this over and over again. We like Janie Blackwell. Okay.
That's right.
To attack her, I can remember that you go to City Hall and you couldn't get in there because on outside was all of the homeless coming to get food.
That's right. Her
They said
birthday.
that, you know,
On her birthday.
that the Christmas party that she gives with thousands of people with presents and stuff, she's looking at the people who can't speak for themselves.
That's correct.
And unless and until you step up and you are willing to do what she's doing, then don't throw rocks. Don't throw rocks. Because the people, the marginalized people, they don't have a voice. They don't get a voice in city council. And the only voice that they really have is the voice of Janie Blackwell.
And
Now,
I have to say that she's a humble woman. I mean, I think she's humble because she's been there a long time and she knows where the bodies are buried. Her husband was there before her. She understands city council and how to get things done. She was the one that chaired that finance committee that excited me. I mean, should say not excited me, but made me mad, because she then showed that she was trying to support the community again. So about the tax amnesty, I can tell you any number of things that she has done good for that community in her community in West Philadelphia.
And here's the other thing. I think that on both sides, they have to be open to discuss it.
Yes.
To sit down and talk to her and work together. And you know, there's going to be a time that she's going to step off and let's have a smooth transition. But don't go and try to push people overboard.
Yeah, and attack people who've
But the people who stay aren't necessarily the ones
That's right.
that should stay.
That's true.
That's right.
And the animosity that we have for each other isn't geared towards people who are really working against our own best interests.
Right.
We have this thing that, you know, I love to do this W.C. Fields quote. He said that he didn't belong to any organized body. He's a Democrat. Democrats have a way, and I think this is what Obama was saying. He was, I think he was in Germany when he made this statement last week. And he said that, and I'm paraphrasing, that we have a way, Democrats have a way of pushing each other out for the perfect. And so we have this purity test.
Right.
And we're not asking for a purity test here. We're asking for people to understand that we have some very real problems in this city.
Absolutely.
And what we talk about today on air is our frustration that we have armed camps in our communities that don't want to talk with each other, don't want to work with each other. You're never going to see eye to eye on everything. You can't. That's not human nature.
Right.
But you have to show that you're willing to work with each other. And every time somebody doesn't agree with you, doesn't mean that they're getting paid by somebody. Because I've got a burr today about accusations that are being made that we're getting paid by the soda tax people.
Oh, my gosh.
It is ridiculous. What? It is absolutely ridiculous. But people make up stories because they want people to believe certain things. They don't have one iota of evidence of that, but it doesn't matter to them. They say things that are not true because it fits their agenda at the moment. Don't play me.
Yeah,
don't play games with me.
Well, because that cheapens what we're doing.
They want to cheapen it.
Right.
And it cheapens them too.
And it cheapens them too, of course. But, you know, don't throw rocks at us because we're standing up for our community.
That's right.
The soda tax has many, many issues with it. And we're here to outline what those issues are and bring forth some solutions.
That's right.
It portends that we are not intelligent enough to read through a situation, to see it, do our research, and arrive at a conclusion. Because, you see, we're just empty-headed people who can have some corporate entity come down and jangle a few dollars, and all of a sudden we're dancing to their tune.
Yeah.
It's like we have no common sense.
And we've been talking about this soda tax
long before
for
2 years.
It was very clear from the very beginning who was going to benefit and who wasn't going to benefit from that soda tax and pre-K and rebuild and all of the things that we've outlined here week after week after week.
That's right.
And it was long before we came. It was long before we came on radio.
It was long before we came on the radio.
We had a discussion in North Philadelphia over 2 years ago, in a meeting of Black women's leadership, where we determined that we wanted to look at this a little bit more.
That's right.
We had a group, which you were a part of, which you helped chair, that met with individual city council people and all of the other people to get information to arrive at a decision. And when we sat down and we talked about it amongst ourselves, we determined this isn't good for our community.
It's not good for our community, and we're not going to stand silent on the issue because it's hurting children. It is hurting children, and that's what's getting lost in this whole... It's hurting our children. It's hurting our children. And so it was supposed to benefit our children in the poorest communities, and it hasn't. No. Now, we're not saying that we don't want universal pre-K. We're not saying that at all. What we're saying is that our children in the poorest communities did not benefit from it.
Yeah, but they're paying for it.
But we're paying for it.
Yes, they're paying for it.
So the poorest communities are paying for it.
That's right.
But we're not benefiting anything from it.
That's right.
In any way. And we've been saying this for years. This is not something we just came by 2 weeks ago. We've been saying it week in and week out, and before, like you said, Joanne, before we even came on the radio, we've been standing up for this issue and our children in the poorest communities.
We felt it was an imbalance, and when we come back after the break, you're listening to 96.1 FM, 900 AM, you're listening to WRD, you're listening to The Source, we're Black Women's Leadership, and we'll be right back.
Listen to Word Radio on the go with the Word Radio app. Search for WURD in your favorite app store today and take us with you wherever you go. Stay connected to Word Radio, independent Black media.
Einstein Bariatrics wants to talk with you about how losing weight can impact every aspect of your life. They know weight loss surgery is no easy decision, but will be with you every step of the way. With nationally recognized expertise and a full team to support you from the moment you reach out, Einstein is committed to doing whatever it takes to help you succeed long after your surgery. They've already helped thousands start a new chapter in their lives and will do the same for you. This changes everything. Get started with a free information session at EinsteinWeightLoss.com.
In celebration of the 20th anniversary of the Drexel University Jazz Extravaganza, the Drexel University Jazz Orchestra will once again share the stage with the Howard University Jazz Ensemble. The Howard Jazz Ensemble, directed by Fred Irby III, and the Drexel Jazz Orchestra, directed by Brent White, will perform compositions by Benny Golson, Herbie Hancock, Randy Weston, Lou Donaldson, and other masters of the jazz tradition. Special guest artists for the evening will be Dr. George L. Starks Jr., former director of the Drexel University Jazz Orchestra and founder of the annual Jazz Extravaganza, and Professor Joseph Jennings, former director of the Spelman College Jazz Ensemble. The concert will take place on Friday, April 12th at 7 p.m. in the Mandel Theater, 33rd and Chestnut Streets on the Drexel University campus. The event is free and open to the public. For more information, please call 215-895-2451.
Support independent Black media and join the Forward movement now at 215-425-7875
or visit wordradio.com.
On May 21st, elect Dennis Lee for City Commissioner, former Chief Deputy City Commissioner who fought against the state voter ID law. As City Commissioner, he will focus on voter education, voter registration, and voter participation in order to guarantee access to free and fair elections. Vote for Dennis Lee for City Commissioner, May 21st, paid for by Citizens for Dennis Lee, Miller Parker, Treasurer.
You're listening to The Source on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Que reste-t-il de nos amours? Que reste-t-il de ces beaux jours? Une photo, vieille photo de ma jeunesse. Que reste-t-il des billets doux? Des mois d'avril, des rendez-vous, un souvenir, il me poursuit sans cesse. Dans la je suis les verres au fond de café. J'ai bien trop à faire pour pouvoir rêver. Mais dans ce décor banal à pleurer.
You know, Kayla getting all exotic with us. Kayla, we were asking you on the break, who are they?
La Viva en Rose.
La Viva en Rose.
Now, who are they?
You got to roll the R.
Are they local? Are they?
They're a local Philly jazz swing band that sings all their music in French.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Like it. Mm-hmm. Have they recorded other stuff?
Yes. They
Okay.
have 2 albums.
Okay, I gotta download
them.
Yeah. So you're listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM. You're listening to Black Women's Leadership, Joanne Bell, Emma Chappelle, Rita Hill, and we're going to go to line 1, Jim.
Sorry.
Jim?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Jim.
I got a question. Now, I'm not going to be able to get out to that meeting at church over there in North Philly, but I want someone to ask all of these people a question. How can they go in there, or at least this one particular candidate, go in the City Hall and have them to change the school curriculum where they're going to add a computer coding program? Now, if I remember correctly, Ed Robertson tried to get them to change the school system years ago.
He did.
Like 50 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And they contracted to do so. But they never did it.
That's right.
Here comes another little chump along the way, got some little influence, and he's going to get them to change the curriculum just like that. Something's wrong with that picture.
But they told Ed it was policy. They just couldn't do it. But maybe they changed the policy for these people.
I'm not buying that.
Right.
I'm not buying that.
Well, we have to ask the question.
Well, we need to get some answers to the question.
Right.
Because people like Janie Blackwell is an educator sitting up there, and she allows these things to continually happen to our children. You see, they take, yes, I said it, and I will say it again, because I am tired of people throwing water in my face and telling me it's raining.
That's right.
I like that variation of the pun.
Yeah.
Now, can you say that again? You said that they're going to change the curriculum in what way? Just be more specific.
They're adding coding.
Coding. The Alan Dom thing.
Mm-hmm.
Pardon?
I know. It was Councilman Alan Dom's commercial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, how can he go in there and make such drastic changes? It must be benefiting him in some way. And I don't
Campaign. Money.
Running for re-election.
We're just supposed to sit back and accept all that, right? I beg your pardon?
I said no. We got to ask the questions and get the answers. Ask the questions and get the answer.
We got to stop allowing people to continually do what they want us to do.
Right.
And those are our children in that system, and we continually allow them to miseducate our children.
Right. So let me ask this, Jim, because I want to get this right. Do you have a problem with including coding in the curriculum?
I don't have a problem with including auto mechanics, nor carpentry. But the facts are, the people sit here and use these kids as pawns, the educational system. But the educational system is not producing the proper children, because they're not teaching them what they need to know. They're teaching them some crap European history and all that nonsense. Yeah. Instead of educating the children as to what they're really about. If black children knew their history the way they should, they would be more into education than other activities.
Jim, I couldn't agree with you more. If you don't know where you're coming from, you will not know where you're going. And if you don't know...
Any road will take you there if you don't...
That's right. Any road can take you there. Thank you for your call. Thank you.
Thank you.
In fact, I have a couple of issues talking about education. this new math that nobody understands. At least the parents can't help the children solve the problems. And teaching people not to sign, not to be able to write.
Yeah, they don't teach cursive writing anymore.
Where did these policies come from, and why? How are these people going to survive in a world where people have been writing cursive for 100 years?
Yeah, how will you sign?
How will you sign your name?
How will you put your signature on a document?
Exactly.
If you don't know how to write cursive, you don't know how to sign.
E-sign.
E-sign.
Yeah, but if you're in person sitting across from someone...
But you don't do that. We have online banking.
She's telling us that we're old.
Yeah.
No, you're going to sit down with me at a table, and we're going to have written documents, and we're going to put our signatures on that document.
If you go to a mortgage company and you sign those papers, they don't want no e-sign.
Yeah, and if you go to buy a car, I mean, there's many things that you still need a signature on paperwork, on documents. There's also e-signing and electronic signature, and that makes it easy. But in the real world, you have to sign your name.
Yeah. A friend of mine just bought a car, and I swear to goodness, it took her 6 hours.
Yes, 8 hours, 8 hours.
6 to 8 hours. She said, I was there. We brought her there at 11 and left her around 4, and she was still there to 8.
Yeah, I mean, it takes hours and hours.
Yeah,
but you sign paper.
Paper after paper.
That's right.
So the e-sign is not getting it all.
No, it's not going to. It's not.
And
gonna
these young
solve
people
everything.
are not going to be able to transact business.
Well, we have a lot of educational issues that we need to address. We also need people to be trained for not only jobs of today, but we also need to be trained for jobs of tomorrow. And I think vocational education is still an important product for us to have, because if we taught some of the basics, carpentry and all of the other skills in school, we would better be able to take some of the jobs that have been taken away from us.
That's right. We'd be able to fill the jobs that have been taken away with us with those kind. And people get to use their hands. And a lot of people are not meant to be working in an office somewhere. There are people who want to build cars. I know in West Philly High they used to have these young people who were building cars.
Yeah.
That's right.
Automotive.
It was fabulous. I mean, so and I just believe in vocational education.
Yeah,
I really
because
do.
everyone's not meant to go to college.
That's right.
And there needs to be an
with
alternative.
the cost of college now.
And not only that, there are many jobs where you can make a living wage and you can raise a family.
Yes.
You can purchase a home, and it's not because you went to college.
That's right.
It's technical. It's skills.
It is.
And that's and that should also be promoted.
Through our school system.
Yes, it should be promoted the way it used to.
And they closed up the schools that were doing that.
There's only a few left.
Only a few left. They've been closing them one by one, the schools that taught young people to do something with their hands.
And because it's not all about college, and not every child has the aptitude or the interest in going to college and sitting in a classroom and learning that way. They
and
have
then not
different
coming out
talents
and not getting a job.
Right. And
with all the education, as the mayor said, they got too much education. They got too much education.
Those overly qualified people who will not want
black people.
Black people who will don't want
these good jobs.
These good jobs at City Hall.
Yeah.
I've been meeting people who have been giving me their resume to send in.
Yeah.
And they want to put in the tagline, I'm one of those overly qualified people.
And I want a job.
And I'm willing to work.
I want this job. I want this low-paying
job.
It was
that was insulting.
He just didn't know what else to say. He really didn't know what else to say.
Where are all of the black people that we see traveling with him, promoting him, working with him? Where are they?
They should be
No, they're
helping
not
him.
embarrassed by this.
I know. They should be.
Because they failed in their job. They're not informing him correctly. How to speak, there ought to be a manual. How to speak to black people.
That's right. And what to say and what not to say.
And what not to say.
That's right.
Where are those people who will convince you that he is the bomb, okay? And where are they? When these gaffes happen,
He says to see
How do you
the stuff.
defend that record?
You can't defend that statement. There's no way you can defend that statement. Not in the black community. As
No.
hard as we look for jobs and
And
out
can't get one.
200 resumes, sending out 200 resumes and can't get an interview. Multiple degrees up on the wall and
it was always government, as Joanne said earlier in the program. It was always government that hired people of African Americans.
That's where the middle class came from. You check, and you go to some of these lovely homes in Mount Airy and all over the city and find out exactly what they do for a living.
Yes.
If it's two people in a working family, one of them is going to be associated with jobs with government.
Right.
Because that's the only place that you can go. You couldn't go to any of these other places and get employed.
No, you could go to private industry like Comcast and Keystone Health, and you couldn't go there.
Oh, well, you can't go there now.
And
you're
you
not
still
getting
can't
jobs.
go.
You're still not getting jobs there.
You know, and then you have people that say, well, you know, we want you to continue to have the status quo, and as Emma always says, and then they come and they ask you for campaign contributions.
That's right.
And the thing is that you can't get money from a community that you never give anything to.
That's right.
That's right.
They
don't give anything, so we make any money to give a contribution.
It is, and I ask people over and over again.
It's a circular argument. It's circular in nature.
So we're going to go to line 1, Gamel.
Good morning, sisters.
Good morning.
It's almost afternoon.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just sitting here listening. You know, and one of the qualifications for being a black king that I am is recognizing true black queens that you guys are.
Oh, thank you.
You know, but I want to just mention two things. I clicked on the radio. I'm on and off. I'm out here working on and off. And one of the statements that you have made, and I'm in total agreement, and I have personal experience on how Philadelphia as a city sort of halts the economic advancement of the black community.
Yes.
And one of the ways I have experienced it briefly, me and some constituents, we were looking into purchasing the Germantown High School.
Yes, I knew somebody else that was trying to do that.
Yes, so we talked to Kenny, and he gave us some not Kenny, the state rep.
Kinsey.
Kinsey. And he gave us some sort of ingenuous, misleading information. Cindy Bass, who's in her district, she has no answers or anything. But from my understanding, they sold it for $100,000.
Yes.
And I think we need to look into this. This is not the first time property that could have helped develop our communities has been snatched away and given to other people other than people of that community. For instance, we got a few years ago we had Temple, and they demolished that school down there and put some type of playing field there.
I know.
Now we have a property at 46 in Market, which was the taxpayers' money spent $52 million to fix it up. Then you sell it for $10 million. All these things, these are like crime. These are criminals. We need to look into this. But yet it's hard, for the black community to want to be involved in a process of voting and support city council when all of these moves are ran through city council and it reeks of corruption, cronyism, and all of that stuff. I mean, what are we supposed to do? And secondly, I want to talk about this because I'm familiar with the plight of Ed Robertson attempting to institute a different curriculum that was an African-centered curriculum in the school system.
So am I. I was very involved.
Okay.
I was part of his African city. I was the bank. I remember that.
Do we go to break?
Go ahead.
So wait a minute. No, we have to go to break.
Oh.
So you're listening to WRD 96.1 FM, 900 AM. You're listening to Black Women's Leadership at the Source, and we'll be right back.
Philly, D.C., and everything in between. Reality Check with Charles Ellison. Breaking down the latest in local and national news. Monday through Thursday, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. Right here on Word Radio. This Black History Month, Woodmere Art Museum presents the opening of Freedom's Journal, The Art of Jerry Pinkney, master watercolorist and renowned illustrator. Celebrated worldwide, Pinkney's works present spirited watercolors and powerful depictions focusing on the civil rights struggle and the pursuit of freedom. Featuring over 100 artist illustrations, including Charles Blockson's groundbreaking Escape from Slavery, The Underground Railroad. You don't want to miss this.
Freedom's Journal, The Art of Jerry Pinkney, now through May 12th. Visit woodmereartmuseum.org. Come to the 2019 Faith and Spiritual Affairs Health Justice Conference on Friday, April 26th from 8 to 4 p.m. The city is building a movement for community health, healing, and justice in Philadelphia. Dress comfortably for yoga, line dancing, and other joyful movement. Learn more about this free event at foodfitphilly.org/healthjusticephl. Co-hosted by the Philadelphia Department of Public Health and the Department of Behavioral Health and Intellectual Disability Services.
Join Word Radio Friday, April 12th for a pre-celebration of the life and legacy of phenomenal athlete, veteran, and civil rights activist Jackie Robinson at Brown ShopRite, 52nd and Jefferson Streets, beginning at 10 a.m. We're hosting a pre-Jackie Robinson Day celebration featuring a live broadcast with guests who will provide commentary on Jackie Robinson. Come out and enjoy popcorn, hot dogs, and other refreshments, and come early. The first 42 people to start or renew their ForWord membership at this event will receive a discounted rate of just $80. The Jackie Robinson celebration is presented by Brown ShopRite, Dietz & Watson, Amoroso's, Hers, and Canada Dry, and sponsored by Moravia Health.
Creator Roofing. That's the company my dad runs. He's a great roofer and a father too. I've watched my dad over the years. He really cares about his customers like he cares about our family. My dad has been a licensed, bonded roofer for over 20 years. He runs Creator Roofing, he's a block captain, and he started Streets of Hope, a ministry to feed, clothe, and shelter the homeless. Call my dad because he cares about people at 267-333-1778.
Hi, this is Brandon Wallace, the owner of Creator Roofing. Please give us a call at 267-333-1778.
Register to vote by April 22nd. Keeping you informed. This is Word Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Streaming live at wordradio.com.
We're back. You're listening to WRD 96.1 FM, 900 AM. You're listening to The Source. You're listening to Black Women's Leadership. And we have a guest here today, Reverend Bill Moore. We're going to get to him right away. We want to clear some of the calls. And Emma was having a discussion with Gamel, and we're going to let her go back and finish that and get to our other callers.
Hi, Gamel. Go finish up for us.
Thank you very much. I want to finish up real quick.
Okay.
This is the main issue that I have. I was talking about Dr. Ed Robinson and his school curriculum thing. But my thing is this. He had so much of a problem, but yet it wasn't that much of a problem with this LBGT sort of stuff they infused into the curriculum. And I have a problem with that because we have, at my estimation, at least 75% of the school district black. And it's a small percentage, or if all. And I don't understand how those things get pushed through. And the things that we really need that's important to the black community has such a different. Well, I understand. I'm just saying something about it so maybe I can get some help with some other people so we can be aware of this stuff.
Ooh,
Thank you very
thank
much.
you for that.
Thank you.
for that.
Line 2, Diane.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi,
Diane, is that the baby?
I'm so sorry. Yes, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I admire you all. Y'all are great ladies, and I thank God for you. And I want to make a comment on the vocational schools.
Yes.
Back in the day in the 70s, it was Mansbaum, Bott, and Dobbin.
Right.
And I went to Mansbaum. And
That's
let me
right.
tell you something. All the children, all the students that took a trade, they all went to good jobs.
That's right.
And Mansbaum had Lockheed Martin, the government, and people would go to Mansbaum just before they can get those government jobs. And it seems like it's designed for our children not to get a trade, because you make good money off those trades. I have a nephew now. He's a carpenter, and he went to one of the, mass bar. But my thing is, they closed down bar, and I heard that someone paid $1 million to buy bar, and and bar has social clubs down there. Social clubs where we can't get into. So it's just troublesome. It's so troublesome.
What they're doing, what they did to Bach was awful, and they put all these businesses in there that it's not for the African American community.
Yes.
I'm very familiar with it because my grandson went to Bach, and they put them out. Those kids out. Yes, they did. They made them go to South Philly High. That was having a lot of trouble at the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you, Diane. Stan on line 3.
Good afternoon, ladies.
Good afternoon, Stan.
I'm going to be very brief. I know you all have a guest. I just want to call with some positive news, some news of empowerment. One of my favorite quotes from Dr. Ed Robinson is, "We must tell our own stories in epic proportion." Right now, I don't know if you guys spoke about it or just tuned in, but Call to Serve and Cindy Bass are actually proposing to vote on a bill. I think tomorrow, they said the next session, to have Broad Street from Broad and Girard up to Oxford named Reverend Leon Sullivan Way.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
Wonderful, yes.
That is
I
great
just want to
news.
make sure, we got to make sure that we hold their feet to the fire, though.
Yes.
This is what the Scoop Media posted on their social media page.
Uh-huh.
So we can't let this bill come up and then they keep passing it on to the next one and to the next one. So I'm just putting that out there.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah, let's pass that.
We need to pass that on. Yes.
We'll pass it on, and we
sure.
certainly do support it, Stan. Thank you for your call. Line 4, Mo.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mo.
Yeah, how you all doing?
Good. How are you?
It's one of the solutions. We could do something that Dr. King did. Is boycott. If we had unity, just when I'm Muslim, I'm already willing to work with Christian, anybody, atheist, anybody.
Mm-hmm.
If black people united, we could unite, and if we just boycott their holidays and shut them down.
That's right.
You can shake this whole thing up. It's our dollars. Believe it or not, it's the dollars of the Afro-American community here in America that really moves the world. And we don't realize how far our dollar goes. But we don't keep it amongst ourselves.
Yes, that is the problem.
Like when I was I went to this chicken place. So I gave the sister oil, so I was getting ready to leave. A coworker said, asked me, could I wait till they go on break, and they wanted to purchase them. So I was sitting there. It was on a Sunday. These women came in there, had these nurses outfit. And I mean, it was jam-packed. And what was wrong with that seemed to me, these black women come from a church. Who cook chicken better than black people? If black ministers could, on that 22nd Street corridor, from Tahoe all the way down to with my family church at that Millermore, that old church, if they unite, they could open up chicken restaurants all on that strip, take that district, take that whole street over, and employ a lot of these young brothers and sisters. And like there's black women who went to these Wilford Academies, those beauty schools and stuff.
Right.
Imagine if they could unite, and they say they go to Enon Baton, that's a big church, right?
Right.
And put the word out that they got a nail salon. Instead of going to these foreigners, we can make money, but we got to redirect our dollars and shut this joker down. Just like after the Million Man March, there was a Baptist minister down in North Carolina. He said they're going to boycott Christmas. They're going to put Christ back into it and take the commercialism out. And they did it. And that's what we got to do, redirect our dollars, shut them down, and then offer alternatives, and even deal with SEPTA. If we can just, if you look at the Montgomery bus boycott, but the difference is when you boycott something, replace it with something. They had boycotted the bus down Montgomery. That was good. But they should have made their own bus company. We could do it here. Just imagine if we decide we boycott SEPTA too. And all the major churches can organize rides for people. If you got to go down to City Hall, or another person got to go, they can organize rides. You can pay the driver, and in the meantime, save the money up. These churches come together and make your own bus line. But we got to do for self. We can do it if we unite and shut these jokers down.
Mo, this is Joanne. I couldn't agree with you more. I think we have to think of how we come together, and it's a mindset, and it's a mindset, and we have to discuss that more. We have a guest in the studio, so we thank you for your call. Good morning, Reverend Moore. How are you doing?
Good morning. Good morning to.
We're glad to have you in here. You look all sporty today.
Listen, I'm with all these ladies. I don't know what to do here.
He got his blue on blue today. I guess you came dressed for us today.
Well, listen, I dressed just for y'all.
Thank you. Nice. Well, thank you. We're glad to have you.
Well, it's good.
We
to be
are
here.
definitely glad to have you, and you wanted to talk to us a little bit about a few things, and we're going to turn the mic over to you.
All right. Thank you. Well, let me first of all thank you and Emma and all
Rita.
of you, Rita. We are currently working with you and the clergy on some things that we're going to talk about a little bit later on, but it's good to have that partnership, and I think what the gentleman just talked about, we see a bit of that happening right now, and I think that going forward we're going to see a different African American community in Philadelphia, because people are tired of what they have experienced, lack of representation, the lack of results in our community, but for everybody else. And we're going to roll up our sleeves and get some things done for a change for the people.
We really do. And you know what disturbs me more, Reverend Moore, whenever we try to come together to work together, we get people who feel frightened by that people are talking. And then they want to mix it up with all kinds of false rumors and things like that, because they don't think that we have the common sense that after a while, when a foot is on your back for so long, that you get tired of that foot on your back. And there comes a day and there comes a time where you say, enough. We've had enough.
And that time is right now. There are always people who are going to be divisive, even our own people. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they can work more for other people than they do.
Absolutely. And harder.
Absolutely. And I think what we are seeing now is a revisitation of something that happened almost 50 years ago.
Right.
When Lee Atwater was, I think, heading the George Bush campaign. After Dr. King had really brought together poor whites, poor blacks, brought together a coalition of Protestant, Catholics, and Jews working together to make a change. And so they came with several wedge issues and broke that up. And we see it living every day right
Absolutely.
now. We see those wedge issues driving people, apart.
Yes.
Our country's full. We can't take anymore, and that's just nonsense. And we've got to. There needs to be a more responsible voice and a collective responsible force that needs to come forward.
Absolutely. I mean, there are things on a national level that's very disturbing, and I often wondered. And when you read your history and you read the kinds of attitudes that took place in Nazi Germany, and we almost are at that point in America today, and people are going about their daily lives as if we're not caging kids at the border and kids are dying, and that the rise in white nationalism is there. I can't quote this poem correctly, but it says that when they came for X person, I was silent, and then they came for whatever, and I was silent.
Absolutely.
And then when they came for me, there was nobody there.
That's right.
We got to remember that.
Right.
We are not disconnected from the people who are fleeing across our borders in the South from a very divisive and dangerous governments that are there.
That's right.
And if we look at it, it's because the resources in those governments have been drained by big corporate interest, leaving corrupt governments that allow gangs and drug gangs to take over those communities, and that's why those people are fleeing.
There's no economic stability.
Absolutely. Well, let me get to what I came here to talk about. And this past Friday at 4 o'clock, the president of Temple University announced a North Philadelphia Special Services District. The first thing I want to say about it is that it's just odd that out of all of the problems that we have in North Central Philadelphia, and a lot of things that a wonderful institution like Temple and a wonderful community can do together, that this president would take his time to announce how this community was going to deal with noise and trash.
Oh, God. Did he really?
No, he didn't.
How he was going to deal with noise and trash. And it goes back to something that the President England said in March of 18 when the community meeting was disrupted. He made a statement that the stadium was going to be the linchpin of the growth of the university and, of course, North Philadelphia. Now they're kind of backtracking and said that what they're doing now is not related. It is related. They're joined together at the hip, and we're not going to drink that Kool-Aid because it's poison. You may recall each Thursday we went to council. We were successful in
the Stadium Stompers.
Right. Well, the Stadium Stompers is a part of the No Stadium, No Deal. It's a bigger coalition. Yes, it's one of the coalitions of it. The Stadium Stompers were earlier, but we joined together with NAN, with Black Clergy, with the NAACP, and the residents, the students and the faculty, to really say that this stadium does not make sense. We were able to knock the Special Services District down. The community has already said it did not want a Special Services District, and of all things to deal with trash and noise. Now, those are certainly issues that speak to the quality of life of our community, but they're not the bigger issue. Noise and trash can be solved very easily. Before you move a lot of students in the community, then you ought to meet with the community residents and come to grips with what is expected of the students that you select to come to your university. All of us have been students, and students are going to do what students are going to do.
Absolutely.
They're going to drink their little sauce on Friday night,
Yes, right.
whenever they do, and they're going to act crazy. Students are going to do what they're going to do. But that runs counter to long-term residents who have vested in the community and who have been there. And so it's dealing with the problem as an after fact. You can deal with it. You can deal with noise, because if the students continue to be disrupted, and most of the students that are there, the ones that I've dealt with, are very serious. As a matter of fact, the students themselves say they did not want the stadium. The faculty said they did not want it. The residents have said they did not want it. And yet they continue to press forward to try to put it there. You can deal with trash. The Beach Corporation has machines. They do summer cleanups, and they can do that. They don't have to have a special service district
no,
to
and
do
you
that.
have and the Beach corporations are very able and has been very invested in the community for years. They didn't just arrive there.
Right. And so you really don't need to do that, and just tell the students to do like the residents do, pick up the trash. And when you're leaving the community, you put your couches and everything on the table. You get a truck and come by and pick it up. You don't need to backdoor the stadium with a special services district. And if the students don't know how to behave, then they need to be dealt with accordingly. So you don't need a special service district to deal with trash and noise. Clean up your own trash. And then to add to that, it's commendable that they are partnering with ODAP to pick up their trash. Now, that's what my mother did. You know, she picked up people's trash so that I could go to school, and my sisters and brothers can go to school, so that we did not have to do that. And I'm not saying this in a demeaning fashion,
right,
but to say there ought to be a discussion beyond, there ought to be an economic discussion beyond using people to pick up trash that you put down. It's your problem. You need to own it. You don't need us to solve your problem. And then on top of that, unless you are paying these students $15 an hour, follow the lead of the mayor. If you're not paying them $15 an hour, it's just slave labor. And you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Here we are in 2019, and they're going back to that in 2019.
And it's almost like you reach out to ODAP, which are people who are suffering from drug addictions and stuff, and they really do need work and need things, but it looks like it's exploitive.
Yep.
That when you do that it's always a look here, we want to give you something that you don't really want, but we're going to sweeten it up and put like little lipstick on this pig, and then we're going to give you something, and that's what we fall for all the time. You know, we forget the bigger issue because we get something that that's put before us, and they think that they think we come cheap anyway.
Right. Absolutely, and we've dealt with a lot of dysfunction in our community. That's what the African American church do. It's like a school. It's a residual institution, and at a certain point you have to go to school. School has to take them. And our churches have worked with people like Odab. Reverend Wells did a wonderful job, and they are tremendous people, but then to reduce them to solving the university's problem is ridiculous. And I want to elevate the discussion. The kind of discussion that we ought to be having is an economic discussion. It ought to go beyond picking up trash and noise. Those are easy things to handle. Write a check to the city to get extra services. You don't have to do that. Work with the sanitation department.
That's what I was going to ask you.
That's an easy problem to solve. We need to deal with some economics. Dr. Chappelle is a founding member of United Bank. United Bank is share the same quadrant of the city with Temple University. Do they do any business with them? When they have orientation for their students, do they encourage them to utilize the bank? Are they utilizing it for the contracting and the hundreds of buildings that they are building all of the time? Are they using them for any of those services? You buy paper, you buy supplies. What kind of providers, African American providers, do you have? We need to have an economic discussion and not a trash and noise discussion.
I agree with you 100%. A university that size has a lot of economic spin-off. And it would be interesting to find out exactly where that money is spent and with whom. We're always the victims of something, but we're never a part of the economics of anything. So that's an interesting question. Now, let me ask you a question. Are you guys meeting with the president?
That's what I was going to ask you.
Well, what has happened in the past, and the agreement that we've had with each other, we've had a couple of meetings that we've invited them to. We did send them a letter indicating that we wanted to meet with them. There's no stadium, no deal. Not at Temple University, but at my church, Temple Memorial Way, where they meet. And so we have not had those meetings. And I think the discussion that we ought to be having is with not only the president, but also the chairman of the board. And I'm being brutally honest about this, and the university may disagree with me, but the president of Temple University does not work for the university. He works for the board. And it proof positive is the number of presidents that they've had over the past years. The University of Pennsylvania is run by the president. Drexel University by the president, Temple by the board, and that's why we have this disrespect for the community. And President Ingram has a good heart; he's a good man, but he's constrained in what he does. We'd love to have that kind of conversation with him, and the kind of meetings that they want to have is the kind of meeting that I'm not disposed to have, to meet with me one-on-one.
We're going to dig a little bit.
Absolutely, we're not doing that.
We're going to dig a little further into that. We got to go to break. You're listening to WRD 96.1 FM, 900 AM. You're listening to The Source. We're here with Reverend Moore, and we'll be right back.
What's cheesy, topped with a fluffy egg and crisp applewood smoked bacon? Easy. McDonald's new $2 breakfast deal. For a limited time, get a flaky bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit for just $2. And if you're craving something savory and sweet, get a delicious bacon, egg, and cheese McGriddles for the same price. Hurry in and bite into this tasty deal any day of the week. Only at McDonald's. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal for a limited time only.
Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM, WURD.
Did you know that smoking a hookah for 1 hour is equivalent to smoking 10 cigarettes? Or that a single black, Dutch, or Swisher cigarillo has 3 times as much tobacco as a cigarette? Even the leaf wrap is full of tobacco and harmful to your health. Whether it's from a hookah, cigar, cigarillo, or cigarette, where there's smoke, there's danger. To learn more and for help quitting today, visit smokefreephilly.org/danger.
Councilman Alan Dom is building a brighter future for Philadelphia's children, fighting for more school funding, raising funds to support tech education, and personally donating to teach computer coding at Coded by Kids. Listen to Coded by Kids instructor Ashley and CEO Sylvester Mobley.
There are a lot of kids that will have a brighter future thanks to Alan Dom and his contributions to Coded by Kids.
Having Alan Dom make a commitment to transforming people's lives through technology has helped us. I can't thank Alan Dom enough.
Fundraising to teach computer coding, personally donating thousands. Alan Dom is fighting to give our children the opportunities they deserve and preparing them for success. Big ideas, big achievements. A better city for all of us. Vote Alan Dom, Democrat for City Council at large. Paid for by Alan Dom for City Council.
Independence is a precious thing, but now and then everyone needs a little help. Isn't it good to know that getting the help you need doesn't mean drastically changing your life? Always Best Care Philly and Delaware is there to give you just the amount of help you need, from a few hours a week to as many hours as you need, handling everything from light housekeeping to meals, and so much more. Don't struggle. Contact Always Best Care and see how easy it is to age in place. Call us at 267-909-9248 or visit abcphillybristol.com.
You're listening to The Source on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
You're listening to The Source. You're listening to WURD, WRD, 96.1 FM, 900 AM. You're listening to Black Women's Leadership. I'm Joanne Bell. I'm here with Emma Chappelle and Rita Hill. And we are with the Reverend Bill Moore today. And we're talking a little bit about Temple University and the relationship that it has with its community. And Reverend Moore, you were telling us a little bit about the board, the Temple University board, and the chairman of the board.
Yeah, they're absolutely no indigenous community people on the board. It is a majority white board. There are some minorities, but rarely speak to the community, if ever. I have not had one conversation with them about what was going on. Most of the conversations happen at a lower level, either with an employee, when it really ought to be with members of the board and the president, people who can really influence policy, just like the people who are on the board. When we were successful in getting the spend district suspended, the council person put it on hold, which meant that they would have to start all over again. And this is how they chose. They spent 2 years in closed-doors meetings, meeting with people that they knew would agree with them. 5 people from the community, most of them we know. At least 2 of them were working with the Stadium Stompers, which was the original group that got started to resist the stadium. Two of them were members of the stadium group. One of them came up with the name Stadium Stompers. And then we find out that she was one of the ones that turned out to be one of the 5 members on the board. So if you have 5 members on the board from the community and 4 from Temple University, and say that the community controls it, you know, everybody in this studio know that game went out with high top boots.
It sure did.
Yeah,
That's right.
But they always try to run that play.
That's right.
Because they think that we'll fall for it. We're always getting that play. That's always going to be a play. Did we just
and sad part is they use some of our own people to help use the play.
It's that's in everything that we do.
That's right.
And most of the things that are done for the community, they are held at the university. When I think there was a breakfast that they had for clergy that I opted not to go. So if you want to work with clergy, if there's anything we have in our churches, we have good kitchens. We know how to cook food.
That's right.
Meet with us. Why do we have to go over there? Even the announcement that was supposed to have been led by the community was held on the campus of Temple University. It was not held in the neighborhood. So how are you going to say it's controlled by the neighborhood, but everything that's done is controlled by you? So that the master's always in charge of the plantation.
So the radical in me says, why don't we take some picket signs and go down to Cozen and O'Connor and kind of have a talk?
Yeah, I think that's where we need to
right.
go. That's where we need to go.
Take it to you. If you can't be respectful of who we are, then we need to take it to your business.
Yeah.
And you know that's a big law firm that gets a lot of city business and gets a lot of other stuff. You know, if you're not going to respect us, then we can't respect your boundaries either.
We have to go back to acting like we did when we ran Push, Reverend Moore.
Yeah.
All right? We used to go with them signs around, and my daughter reminds me all the time. I was telling Joanne how many years we stood up and fought for the community, and we were willing to go out with the signs and let the people know we were dissatisfied with how people were being treated. And it looks like here we are in 2019, and we're going to have to go back to it.
Well, you know, there's, you know, generally when our people, some of them get good jobs, and well they ought to. When you get on the inside, then you ought to lift the voice of the people where you came from.
That's right.
Rather than assimilate and
run from.
And feel that, you know, everything.
You made it.
Everything is all right. Yes, that I made it to the promised land. So, you know, if you can get in, all right. No, we got to, you know, my parents always taught me to reach back. You know, that if people helped you, people blessed you, then you ought to be able to bless somebody else. And when we look in this room, you know, we've been fighting a long time.
Long time.
I mean, there ought to be a whole lot of folks behind us.
That's right.
Saying, listen.
Rarely is.
Right.
And the other thing is that when you fight, they try to attack the people who are fighting for them.
That's right.
Accuse them of all kinds of things. You know, this is a town that's very difficult. They want things, and then they'll let you be up front and do it, and then they'll call you up and say, yeah, I was really behind you. I have never met a group of more afraid people in my life. I just who have no heart. No guts.
I mean, those meetings held at Temple, that was a definite power play. And it was a sign of disrespect for the black clergy. And so if we want to take the respect back, then we have to make them
have to do something.
That's right.
We have
to do something and make them come to us. Like you said.
Get their attention.
Get their attention.
We're going to take a call. Go to line 1, Jacqueline.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
I'm walking into a building. Hey, I'm Jackie Wiggins, and good afternoon to everyone.
Good afternoon.
And I am a stadium stomper. I am a member of No Stadium No Deal Coalition.
Okay.
And, I have to walk into my school building. Just hold on 1 second.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is that if you're saying we have to do something, absolutely right, because the Stompers have done that all along. It's been over 3 years that we have been on this case. Now that we have a conviction, we are looking for more people to become our allies, to be true allies, because it's betrayal to sit there, as Reverend Moore said, to have 2 people who would come to our meetings and then all of a sudden side with Temple. I don't know what they're thinking.
Well, it's easy to buy people.
They gave them.
And that's what they did.
It gave them recognition. A lot of times, it's not even money or power; it's recognition. People all want to be known for something, to get a title or something.
Well, you know, past 60, how much recognition do you need?
Exactly.
You ought to be looking for satisfaction.
That's true.
We're going to go to Gail on line 2.
Hello.
Hi, Gail.
Hi, Gail.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
Good.
And I'm a lifelong resident of North Philadelphia, over there by Temple.
Oh, good.
And I'm also a block captain.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also a member of the Stadium Sponsors and the No Stadium, No Deal Coalition.
Good.
So,
are you fighting for this?
I'm fighting for my community. I'm fighting for my home and my family. I grew up in this neighborhood. I actually live in the house that I grew up in.
Yes.
I would like to leave my home to my daughter, so she will have a good start. And I have a problem with how our community is just being taken over by opportunistic capitalist ventures, and the community members have nothing to say about it. We're not invited to the table. We're not invited to the conversation. I get that they may not like the Stadium Stompers, but being a block captain, my community is not telling me that they're being contacted by organizations or individuals who are trying to make the community better. So that's a huge, huge problem. I'm asking them their opinions with regards to information and things to take back to the Stadium Stompers and things to comment on and to bring up, but I don't hear all of these other individuals and organizations doing that same thing. They're making assumptions according to what they think that we want and according to what they think that we need from them, and that's not right.
Well, Gail, we're going to let Reverend Moore answer you, and so we thank you for your call. Reverend Moore?
Thank you, Gail. That is the conversation that we have not had. Whatever they do in the community is what they want done. And then they come to us and cherry pick people who will give consent for what they want done. And you may not want to have a strident conversation, but because the conversation is strident does not mean that it does not have to be respectful. And the reason that the meeting, the March meeting last year was disrupted was one or two things that came out of the president's mouth early on was nobody would lose their home. Now, we knew that that was a lie. When they put up the Leocora Center along Burke Street, one of our former superintendents of schools' family lived there. Their home got disrupted, and homes are still getting disrupted, disrupted now. When you place in a community $300,000 and $400,000 homes,
absolutely,
those are not people who are in our community. I lived on Master Street for about 30 years, and on one side of the street were homeowners. Now most of those are students.
Yes,
on the other side were renters. Most of those are students. Just 10 seconds from my church at 19th and Master, homes are being built, and I'm getting flyers put in the door of my church selling for $349,000 on the 10-year tax abatement, so that the developers, and nobody's against development, all of us have done development. What we are against is development gone wild, and development that excludes people rather than include people. And that's what is happening now. The developers who come from New York, and you know Philadelphia now is being called Little Manhattan because of people who come here.
Because the real estate is so high that they would take a 2-hour train ride or a 2-hour car ride to live in Philadelphia.
That's right. People can live anywhere they want to, but don't displace me.
That's right.
Because you want to live more economically, and that is what's happening. The developers get the 10-year tax abatement, and the residents get the tax bill. Every time they get the tax bill, the taxes are going up so high that people cannot afford to live. They cannot afford to pay their taxes. And so when a developer comes and offer them $120,000 for a row house, no matter what condition it is, a person who is desperate people do desperate things,
right.
and they make desperate decisions. So where are you going to go in Philadelphia? You're 60 years old. You're gonna outlive the $120,000 you got.
Absolutely.
It does not
That's
make
right.
sense.
That's
Where
right.
are you going to go and buy a home in Philadelphia, for what you got? And what are you going to live on once you do that? So we really have to be sensible, and what I'm encouraging our people to do is keep your stuff. Because if you sell your stuff, what do you have?
Right.
It's an asset, like Gail. Gail lived in her mama's house. She wants to pass it on to her daughter, and her daughter would want to pass it on to her children.
Right.
That's what they do, and that's what we ought to be doing. We ought to be about preserving our assets and not giving them away to anybody else. Why is it that we always have to be the ones that are running? We've seen it in South Philadelphia. There are 8 black churches that were in South Philadelphia. About 6 of them are in North Philadelphia because they couldn't park. The people who moved in started complaining to the city about
They do that all the time. Yeah.
all of the time.
They're the insular.
Yeah, but the church
Right.
has been there for
They've been
50
there.
years.
So one church, First African Church, our good friend Dr. Terrence Griffith, was on Christian Street. He had to move way over in West Philadelphia. 19th Street.
wow, yeah.
Late Charles Walker's church
yeah.
is down at the Navy Yard.
Is that where they were?
2 churches are up on the boulevard. So we're always the
my
ones
goodness.
who are being displaced. And what is happening is now north of Girard Avenue is Greater Center City.
Yeah.
Because it's too expensive for certain people to live in Center City. The Spring Garden area is now saturated. Fairmount is saturated.
It's moving
Francisville
on
is
up.
saturated. So now it's north of Broad.
Right.
I mean, I'm sorry,
Of
north
Girard.
of Girard. So
I'm
all of
told
these
that they
things-
want to go all the way up to Venango.
Well, that's where they're moving.
That's where
and
they're
it's
moving.
happening all over this city. So why is it that there's a policy that always displaces us but not includes us?
Exactly.
Reverend Moore, what did you think about the tax amnesty bill that was introduced in City Council and voted down?
It's crazy.
Yeah. Vote it down. For
Crazy.
for the people that you talked about that lived in your neighborhoods where they have a tax, they couldn't pay the tax right away, so they put fines and put what do you call it? Fines and interest.
Yeah.
Interest and fines.
Penalties and interest.
Yeah, penalties and interest.
Yeah, and a lot of people's homes went up for sure sale.
Yeah, that's what they're doing.
And now they put a moratorium on it. Now, moratorium is not tantamount to legislation.
No.
So, it really does not make sense that, 15, 20,000 seniors' home is going up for search sales. And they get a lot of papers they don't understand.
Exactly.
And sometimes by the time you get to them, it's all too late.
Too late.
And to Councilperson's, credit on the tax abatement, he did try to get 1% of the tax abatement to go towards affordable housing or to moderate cost housing, and Councilman Dahm was the one person who really took exception to that, and somehow or another got them to agree to 1% of the tax abatements as they expired.
Oh,
now,
wow.
That is just sensible.
And we have people who are hugging on him, talking about he's the greatest.
Yeah.
And that's what I said, because money, he has enough money to buy commercials, even on this station, to buy commercials on air, and people get an impression. That's why you have to follow the information that you're given. We have to go to break, and when we come back, we have to wrap up. We're going to get some closing remarks. You're listening to WRD 96.1. FM 900 AM. You're listening to The Source, and we'll be right back.
Young and woke. Fridays on Wake Up with Word. Hosted by the rapping professor, Dr. Aaron Smith. 7 a.m. till 10 a.m. right here on Word Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
PP Shows presents the Mother's Day Music Festival Weekend in Atlantic City. Friday, May 10th at Caesar Circus Maximus Theater, The Whispers. And the Force MD. Saturday, May 11th at Boardwalk Hall, Maze featuring Frankie Beverly. Joy and pain. Kim.
Hey girl, you can trust in me, girl.
I'll Be Sure and Christopher Williams. The weekend wraps up Sunday, May 12th at the Tropicana with After 7. And Drew Hill. 3 shows in 3 nights. Log on to ppshows.com for information about discounted hotel rooms, 2 big after parties, and brunch. Tickets to all the concerts can be purchased at Ticketmaster.com. Mother's Day weekend. Atlantic City is the place to be with 3 big concerts. Be there.
Be heard. Want another way to join the conversation? Follow us on social media using the hashtag onWURD. Be heard. Stay connected to Word Radio. Independent Black media.
You're listening to The Source on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
We're back. You're listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM. You're listening to Black Women's Leadership, and we're here today with Reverend Bill Moore, and he is talking about Temple University and their relationship with the residents of North Philadelphia and the gentrification. We want to talk a little bit more about this board. So could you tell us how this board stands?
The board at Temple? Or the
Temple University Board.
Yes. It is my understanding that Pat O'Connor stepped down as chair, so I think Vince Morgan is, his name is on this building on Broad Street. One of the dormitories will be coming in as the new chair. And I do hope that this will provide, or should provide, an opportunity for a fresh start. Not continuing to have paternalistic conversations and cherry-picking people to serve on the board, and they're deciding what's good.
Now, when you say cherry-picking people to serve on which board, is it a community board?
On the Special Services District Board.
Okay.
That those, that ought not be a patronizing thing. And we also need to have a discussion about the board itself. That's a conversation with the governor and also with the board itself. They should not be able to self-select and again cherry-pick people who really do not live in the community and who make decisions for the community that they would not want done if the script were flipped. They would not want African Americans coming into Gladwin and places where they live making decisions about their community. So why should you make decisions about our community? If you're in Philadelphia, in North Philadelphia, Temple University is in North Philadelphia, but they're not all of North Philadelphia, and they need to stop acting like that. And I think when they have an enormous resource, and I think when we have respectful conversations with them, that they could be an even better university than they are now, because they have a lot to offer. And I'm not a Temple basher, but I am a basher of, taking over the community and intrusion in the community and talking to who you want to talk to and cherry-picking people to talk to and talking to people one by one. That is not going to happen. Talk to respectful people, and you when you get together, you ought to have a better idea. You shouldn't have to get criticism for everything you do for the community. It says that there's something definitely wrong, and the thing that is wrong is the kinds of conversations that you have. You have a fixer who comes into the community, but that game too went out with high top shoes. There need to be more than one person, talking to the community, and it ought to be at a level with the decision makers. Feet were made for walking. We need to talk to heads.
Absolutely.
All right.
Reverend Moore, we want you back, and we want to talk about the next time you come in about the black clergy and the coalition that we've built going forward, which I know is going to make some people uncomfortable, and we'll hear a whole bunch of other rumors about that. We thank you for coming in. Some words from you, Rita, to end.
Well, I would just like to say in closing that our Philadelphia listeners, don't be fooled by the photo ops and the glossy pictures and the quotes and the commercials that are going to come at you in the next coming weeks. Remember the record of those who stand before you asking for your vote. In particular, I draw your attention to Mayor Kenny and all of the things that he said to our community in order to be elected and get our votes. And then when he was in office, or newly in office, he changed his position. We know the record. We know how he took those larger contracts from PRWT and Team Clean and Scotland Yards, and he disenfranchised a whole community. We know that he campaigned on stop and frisk and Philly pre-K, and we know that he did not do what he said on stop and frisk as well as Philly pre-K and rebuild. We know the diversity reports that have come out on by his administration as well as Rebecca Reinhardt, and that whites are overrepresented. And so the list can go on, and we talk about these issues every week, week in and week out. So I would ask our listening audience not to be fooled by these glossy pictures and these pretty photo ops and the commercials that are going to come on the television and they're going to come at you from the radio. Be clear about what we're asking. Be clear about what we're saying. Be clear about your elected officials and their records. Be clear.
Couldn't say it better myself.
That was well said. And I want to deal with one of the things that is uppermost in my mind, and that's the kids killing kids and the violence that's taking place in this city. And there's something needs to happen. I don't know if they have to set up a certain department in the police department, but it seems to me that the mayor could do more than he is doing to get these guns out of these young people's hands, because nowadays they're going by if you're sitting on a step and shooting at you sitting on a step, or even if you're not outside, they're shooting into your house. Something has to be done, and I want to know, where is the mayor? Where is the police, the head of the police department? Where is city council making sure that it's happening? So that is my pet peeve. What are we going to do? What kind of strategy is there going to be for violence, violence prevention?
So I want to remind you once again, tomorrow night at Bright Hope Baptist Church from 6 to 9, the Women Connected, which is the AKAs, the Deltas, Black Women's Leadership, is coming together to do a forum, a candidates forum for at-large candidates.
Right.
Come out tomorrow night from 6 to 9, and we'll see you there. We'll all be there.
We'll be there.
And we'll see you there. So, Kayla, we enjoyed today.
Yes.
Reverend Moore, thank you for sitting with us.
Thank you. Thank you,
Reverend Moore.
Kayla's going to rock us out a little bit with some of that good music, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
You can't stop in avalanches of races down the hill. You can try to stop the seasons, girl, but you know you never will. And you could try to stop my dancing feet, but I just cannot stand still. 'Cause the world keeps spinning round and round. My heart keeps time to the speed of sound. I was lost till I heard the drums, and I found my way. 'Cause you can't stop the beat ever since this whole world began. A woman find
can't stop my happiness, 'cause I like the way I am. And you just can't stop my knife and fork when I see a Christmas ham. So if you don't like the way I look, well, I just don't give a damn. 'Cause the world keeps spinning round and round, and my heart's keeping time to the speed of sound. I was lost till I heard the drums, till I found my way. 'Cause you can't stop the beat. Ever since this old world began, a woman found out if she shook, she could shake up a man. And so I'm gonna shake and shimmy it the best that I can today. 'Cause you can't stop the motion of the ocean or the sun in the sky. You can wonder if you wanna, but I never ask why. And if you try to put me down, I'm gonna spit in your eye and say, but you can't stop the beat.
The Source.
The Source.
Weekdays, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Special guest host Renation of Patan every Monday in April.
The Source. Exclusively on Word Radio and WordRadio.com.
Hi, everybody. This is Nick inviting you to buy your next car from Jerry and the fellows over at CarDex. See, they're not dealers. They're like a car concierge service. They design a car around you. Almost any make. If it's not on the lot, they'll go out and get it for you. So use my car concierge, where I've already bought 4 cars. CarDex at 116 East Glenside Avenue in Glenside, Pennsylvania. Check them out online at cardexinc.com or call CarDex at 215-886-3230.
The Sweet Treat Hut is the highest-rated juice bar in Philly, located on the corner of 50th and Thompson Streets, providing delicious, healthy vegan food, juices, and smoothies. Treat yourself to a cup of happiness. Call 215-877-1471.
TheKimmel's.com.
Host your own private event in this beautiful gallery today.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
We are Progressive and Proud. And interactive. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at onWURD. This is Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Streaming live at wordradio.com. The views and opinions expressed by the guests, listeners, and hosts of any program on Word Radio do not necessarily reflect those of ownership, management, or advertisers of this station.
Joe is 90 and I'm pushing 80, and there are other things I need to kind of tell these stories. That's why I'm glad you gave me this opportunity. I want to thank you.
I want to thank you, and I want to thank you for a life that has made all our lives.